San Diego, let's get to it. No fluff, no filters, just San Diego sports the way it's supposed to be.
When one asset of your game is not performing at a high level, you need the other portions of your game to step up and overcome those things.
The takes hit different here.
You know, everybody's all worried about the Padres not hitting home runs. The Padres don't need to hit home runs to win games. The home runs are going to come. It's finding different ways to win.
This is the Braden Surprenant Show.
What's up, San Diego, and a happy Tuesday to everybody out there in America's finest city. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We are on live and local each and every day from 10 to 2. Thanks again for making your day, or our day, a part of yours. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. Let's dive into everything. Yesterday was a rough day if you were a Team USA San Diego Padres fan, huh? Wow, that was rough. I guess you could be even. You know what? Did the Mets win yesterday?
They did.
Oh, okay. So
Somehow,
you're not as miserable as
way.
everybody else. Actually, it depends how you look at it. You might be miserable at this point in time because you want them to lose to try to change everything over there.
They tried too. As Adam texted us, Soto hit a 3-run home run in the 9th inning, and then they gagged it back up, went to extra innings, hit a 2-run double, and then almost gagged that up. So trust me, things are going to be shaking over there no matter what.
Adam had a rough day yesterday. Of course, he had the Padres game, awful. Team USA, awful. And his Atlanta Braves lost in a horrific fashion. So you know what? There's a lot of people out there that had a rough sports night last night. Not a great sports day yesterday, Frank.
No.
Just not in terms of the results. Not very good. Not very good. We're going to get to the Padres stuff in a second because, I mean, here's what I have to say. And I'm going to I'm going to give Frank some time to get all of this info or get all of this sound. But if you want to just have like a cruel experience, take the pregame comments of Craig Stammen, Manny Machado, and Jake Cronenworth and listen to those and then like go back and watch the highlights of last night's game. I mean, what are we doing? Seriously. The pregame comment, this is the most important week of the season. This is, huge for us. We still believe that we can make the playoffs. Everything you would want them to say, and it was all destroyed in like the first inning. I still, this team's, I mean, they were asking some very interesting questions, I mean, they had some, questions about like, why is this team different than 2021? They asked that to Jake Cronenworth. He's like, it's a different team. Like, we've learned from those mistakes. We know how to handle that now. Then they lost 8-0. Craig Stammen's talking about the hope of the day. I still believe the hope of the team. 8-0. I thought Manny was a little bit more honest than he, maybe has been in the past. I mean, his body language did not look great. He looked like a guy that is just incredibly frustrated with this season. And you know what? He brings up a good point. I mean, they are missing, their dogs in the rotation. They are missing here and that. Everybody's missing guys, though. So I understand that, but he laid it out too. He's just like, this is a very important week for us and all. 8-0. I mean, the display on the field did not match what they were talking about in the pregame. If they were to talk like that and then go out there and win 8-0 or like put together great at-bats and play great defensively and look solid as a team and then like lose, you'd be like, you know what? Not our year. But again, it's just over and over again with this team. You see the signs like Sunday night, and Jake Cronenworth even mentioned that in his pregame, and then you get games like this. 8-0. I mean, come on. The only like bright spot of your rotation is now giving up like 16 runs in 2 games. They figured out the reinvented Walker Buehler, haven't they? That didn't take very long. 8-0. I mean, where is the grit that we keep hearing all the time? 8-0. The most important week of the season, going into the All-Star break. Have to go 5-2 in these 7 games to really feel like you're back on track. 8-0. If they would have lost like 4-3, it'd be like, you know what? They're getting there, playing hard. 8-0. Ah. 8-0. I was at softball yesterday, and it was, I mean, I had a game at 6 and I had a game at 7. The 7 o'clock game had just started, which means that we're like 20 minutes into the game. And somebody on the team was like, Padres are already down 6-0 already. I was like, what in the world happened? Go back, watch the highlights. I mean, triple, that just hit by a pitch, walk. I mean, just all the just nonsense that you've seen out of this team for the last couple of months. 8-0. I kind of wanted to start with soccer today. I mean, we're going to get to the Padres stuff, and we're going to play the pregame stuff from yesterday and then talk about what happened in the game. But, like, for anybody that wanted to use Team USA as kind of a relief to what they've been watching with the Padres, man, did that not look very good. I'm going to be very honest with you. I'm not the biggest soccer fan in the world. I think most people know that. I'm not like Chris, though, and has to, like, just rain on the parade of everybody likes the World Cup. I think the World Cup is fun. I've enjoyed watching the World Cup. I've enjoyed watching some of these games. I think the players are playing incredibly hard. You get to see some fun stuff. It's a high-level version of soccer. It's fun to watch. So I'm not going to say that I dislike soccer, but I'm also going to say I'm not the biggest soccer expert in the world. And you know what, Frank? Chime in if I'm wrong here. But within the first 3 minutes of that game yesterday, I immediately was like, oh boy, they do not have it today. They are not ready for this game. They are not ready to handle Belgium. And then after about 5 to 7 minutes, I'm like, they don't even look like they belong in the same field as these guys.
It's almost like you gave them a reason to like get extra up for this game.
I mean, it's not like Team USA had a choice in the matter. They just played the game they had.
No, I'm just saying. More of FIFA. Somebody gave them another reason. That's all there was to it.
But I have to say, I mean, you said that it was almost a foregone conclusion that Team USA was going to win. The talent level at Belgium is way better than Team USA. Their talent level is way better. They're a way better team. They're top 10 in the world, which Team USA is not. They've
been playing with each other for the last 16 years.
Correct.
A lot of those guys.
And the other thing with Team USA, they look like that game was that game was bigger than it was too big for them. I mean, that game looked way too big for them. It was even a challenge. I mean, Belgium didn't really have a challenge.
You get the goal from Tillman in the 31st minute, and you're like, okay, maybe we got something here. And then it's right in again. It's in the 33rd minute. Belgium answers back. It's like, okay, well, that's done and over with now. And that was without starting Lukaku, who scores late in the game. That's without starting Kevin De Bruyne. That's without starting Salamakers. A lot of their big name, impactful guys didn't start in this game. And they still dog walked you.
Well, I think it sounded like from some experts around that's the kind of the strategy they like to employ and have those guys come in late sometimes. Yeah, no, I mean, I honestly think that's a strategy when you're confident you're better than the other team. Like, we know we're better than this team. We're going to have our guys be healthy in the second half to really put it on. But, I mean, that first goal by Belgium was just a complete breakdown by Team USA. You can't even, like, did you see when they showed the highlight, the replay of Pochettino sitting there on the sideline and he's looking at the screen going like, what are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's when you as a coach are asking that question, sometimes the moment is too big for your players. And at that point, Like, it's not that wasn't a strategy problem. That wasn't our game plan is off. That wasn't like, we're not ready for this. That was just strictly, what are we doing? We're better than this. And that's how it started. I mean, you got the equalizer out of Tillman, and then you're like, okay, good. And as you mentioned, they got the header after, which cancels that. Second half, the Team USA had little response. I mean, just little response. From the freeze era that gifted Vanaken an easy finish from distance. I mean, Pulisic had 11 turnovers in the first half. Dest was a liability. Balogun was aimless. Freeze made the costly mistake early in that contest. Ream had defensive struggles. They didn't play well across the board.
No, and if you look at, have you seen Balogun's numbers from last night? People are joking that he served his suspension on the field last night because
was even there.
No goals, no assists, no chances created, 0 dribbles, 0 tackles made, 10 passes, which was the fewest out of any starter last night from either side, 6 accurate passes, fewest of all starters, a 60% pass accuracy, lowest of all starters, and 19 total actions, which was the second fewest of all starters. He was a non-factor last night. So this guy who you made such a stink about was out there taking up space last night. That's really all he did. He was taking up space in time.
Well, it sounds like they could you imagine if he didn't play? They could have lost 10-1 last night.
He basically didn't.
More repeated early exits for Team USA in soccer. I mean, they're obviously their ceiling on the global stage is the round of 16. Soccer's growing in the United States, and they got the host advantages. I think for why that they did so well in pool play. But I mean, they had a home crowd last night. But when you give up a goal in the first 7 or 8 minutes, that just sucks the life out of the crowd. I mean, you never even got to get the crowd in to the contest. About Pochettino's comments last night, we were not the same team. Very bad day. We need to accept that sometimes this type of thing happens. He is right about that, but you got to be geared up, ready to go when you have a chance to get into the quarterfinals.
Yeah, 100%. And that team, I stand by what I said, that USA team, if all goes right, if all looks normal with them, I don't mean like they look bad against Belgium, but if they played the way they did against Paraguay, no, if they just played the way they played in the previous few games, they could have beaten that Belgium team. They could have done it easily. It looked like yesterday, it looked like Belgium was playing with a different purpose. They definitely took what happened with Balogun, they took it personally, and instead of the ho-hum woe is me, they went out there and used it as fuel last night. They said, fine, you want to do it this way? Okay, this is the way we're going to do it. And they got up for that game in a way that they have not gotten up for a game in this tournament.
That's what they should have done in their press release.
Well,
they should have said that.
More, but then if they don't back it, if they lose that game, then they look stupid.
No, they would. It'd be like, hey, we tried our best. I mean, like that's that's better than like trying to make the excuse before the game just in case they lost. Because if they would have lost, they just would have bitched and moaned about Balogun, even if he didn't have a big night. But now you don't have to worry about that. And you know what? Guess what? It's over. Now the World Cup's not tainted anymore. Everybody was like, it's going to be tainted. It's going to be tainted. It's not. They lost.
It still is, but it would have gotten a lot worse, and it would have had a lot more impact had the U.S. won and had they advanced.
In 20 years from now, are you going to look back and be like, this is a World Cup that was tainted?
It will be a footnote.
People are going to forget about it.
It will be a footnote that will be mentioned. But it's not going to. But because they did not advance, it will not be made a big deal. No.
Would you consider this year's World Cup a success for Team USA, a failure, or indifferent?
Based off of how they played in the group stage, and they played some decent teams in the group stage, I would say that It's going to be a failure based on expectations because they were one of the home nations. All of the home nations, by the way, out in the round of 16.
Yeah, all in the same round. So it's not like they failed. If Canada and Mexico would have both advanced, it would have been like, oh, okay, that kind of sucks. They used the home field advantage better than Team USA did. But I would consider it relatively a success. I mean, there's never a lot of expectations for Team USA. I think that they showed a lot of promise in pool play, and they ran into a team that's better than them. I mean, Belgium's just flat out better than them.
Yeah, Belgium is, but I felt that this team could have made it past Belgium. They could have gone at least one more round. They would not have beaten Spain or Portugal.
No way.
They only, based off of their ability at their best, they were only making it one more round anyway. So, I mean, they were going to be out in the round of in the quarterfinal anyway. I would say it's rather indifferent. There were positives, there were negatives. The way they left, the way they lost, obviously was a huge negative, but they're still young. They're all under 20. Most of them are all under 25. And for all this talk about being too big for the moment, this is where, or the moment being too big for them, that's where you need a guy like Christian Pulisic, this is his third World Cup. He's played in UEFA Champions League games with AC Milan and the German teams before that. I believe it was Dortmund. Correct me if I'm wrong in chat, Juan, if you're there.
Juan is still wounded from Sunday.
But he is a guy who has been in these situations. He has been in these moments. He has had the light shine this bright. And he was also invisible for the most part in the game last night. So a lot of the critics that were shining a bad light on Pulisic, I understand, yeah, he was still kind of hurt, but you can still have an impact on these young guys who are coming up and only doing this for their second time and getting this far for their first.
11 turnovers in the first half for Pulisic.
Yeah, I mean that's detriment is what you are at that point.
100%. You're not helping at that point.
No.
You're not the, face of the team. You have to be better than that. But, Team USA, I thought, I would consider it relatively a success. I don't think you could take the exit game. It's recency bias. I know they didn't play very well. That can't define their entire World Cup. They had a lot of great games. They played, a lot better than they've had in the recent past. I think it's a good building block for them. But, are they ever going to be able to get over the hump? And something that's interesting, I sent to you on social media, or I sent to you via text that we're going to talk about when we come back. But, it's the question of why can't USA have a dominant soccer team? And there's more to it than you would think. We're going to talk about that when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego Summer Sports Station, 97 through the Fan. Every NFL team added someone new this offseason, but a handful of those newcomers could completely reshape the 2026 season. The Bills betting on first-time defensive coordinator Jim Leonard, that we talked about on last week's update in the NFL, to help reinvent their defense while chasing a Super Bowl. Dallas hopes Christian Parker can turn one of the league's worst defenses into an average one. And with that offense, average might be all that they need. Denver finally gave Bo Nix a game-changing weapon by trading for Jaden Waddle, while the Chargers hired Mike McDaniel with one goal, finally unlocking Justin Herbert in the playoffs. And don't overlook Tennessee, where Brian Daboll is trying to revive the career of former number one pick Cam Ward. Biggest additions this offseason weren't just star players. They were coaches whose decisions could define the entire NFL season. Every NFL offseason brings new faces, but not every newcomer arrives carrying the weight of a franchise, whether it's a new coach, coordinator, free agent signing, rookie, or trade pickup. These additions could define the 2026 season. And let's start with Arizona. Arizona is obviously a team that has struggled in the past. They have been known to have one of the worst teams in all of sports, worst run teams in all of sports. They got a brand new head coach, Mike LaFleur. Did you see, by the way, did you see the story of this?
No.
About there was the Giants, the New York Giants are hosting the Cardinals at some point in the season. I forget what day it is. And this girl wants to have her dream wedding with her dream suite. And the weekend that she was planning on doing this was a weekend that the Giants were having a home football game. And apparently this hotel is where all the NFL teams stay at. So all the suites are usually reserved for the NFL teams. And so she wrote a letter, an email to Mike LaFleur and like whoever may read it about, hey, I know you guys usually book this suite, yada, yada. You know, it's my dream wedding, all this other stuff. Do you mind if we, make a deal? I'll invite you to the wedding, all this other stuff. It gets to Mike LaFleur. He passes along the owner. The suite that she wants is actually reserved for the owner of the teams that come into play.
Yeah, it's October 4th is when this
and so the owner of the Cardinals released the video after the fact and said, hey, yeah, no problem. You guys can have the suite. I'll stay somewhere else. So that was kind of cool. The Arizona Cardinals to do that, which is kind of a funny little thing. So good for her. She gets her dream wedding, whoever she may be. But I saw it on social media over the weekend. Mike LaFleur, biggest newcomer to Arizona, obviously their head coach. They got a rookie running back in Jeremiah Love. He's going to receive plenty of headlines, but LaFleur is one of the ones responsible for trying to turn this team around. He comes from Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan coaching tree, but he'll have to prove it on his own. He's the brother of Matt LaFleur. I think at this point, I think it's a little tough for Mike to try to turn this organization around. They've been struggling for a long time now. They're not very good from a top standpoint. And I think with the success that Sean McVay has had, all of a sudden anybody that is coached with him, same with Kyle Shanahan, seems to be the young up-and-coming coach, and everybody's trying to find their next Sean McVay. I don't necessarily know if Mike LaFleur is that guy. He could be. But I just think a lot of teams are trying to find their next Sean McVay, and it hasn't worked for a lot of the teams trying to replicate what the Rams have done.
No, absolutely not. And looking at, what these next two teams on the list here, the Bills and the Cowboys, spoke about them last week. They're not looking for a head coach, but looking for defensive with new defensive coordinators in Jim Leonard. Of course, the Buffalo inherits a defense that lost multiple veterans while transitioning away from Sean McDermott. His longtime system, and McDermott is another guy that Buffalo now is trying to replace and try to find their McVay in Buffalo. Dallas, one of the best offenses, one of the worst defenses in the NFL last year. They're looking to hope that Christian Parker kind of sparks that defense along.
I don't want to spend too much time on the coordinators because we talked about that last week. So we didn't talk about Mike McDaniel at all. He wasn't part of that group that we talked about last week, but I think it's an interesting hire by Harbaugh to bring in a guy like Mike McDaniel. I mean, Mike McDaniel to me is a good offensive coordinator. I don't think he can be a head coach. I know they had success early in Miami. I feel like he's in the realm of very good coordinator, just doesn't have what it takes to be a coach. I mean, I thought they tried too heavily to just get all these all-stars on offense and go with the receiver route, and they didn't focus on the trenches. The Dolphins had a lot of problems, but they were fun to watch every once in a while on offense. I think you bring that to a Chargers team that has got a good quarterback in Justin Herbert, that has some weapons on the outside, that have, arguably a not too bad defense. I mean, it's a good team. Harbaugh adding Mike McDaniel to the coaching staff, I think it's going to work out well for the Chargers. Is it good enough to win the Super Bowl? I don't really know, but I like the pickup. I think he's going to help Herbert out. I think the offense is going to be very elite this year for the Chargers.
Yeah, McDaniel does strike me as being like a little too young to be a head coach. You saw like all the stuff of him on the sidelines. You've heard some of the NFL film sound from him down the sidelines. That's not head coach material. He does feel as though he does feel like he's got more of the personality and the complex to be a coordinator.
Ball back. It was a not uncalled foul. VAR calls it a foul. Instead of Egypt being up 2-0, Egypt is up 1-0.
Stepped on his foot. Can't do that.
Can't do that. But you know what? They missed it. Why don't they have this in the NFL? Why don't we have the assist on all this stuff? Come on, man. Could you imagine if they had that in baseball? All the missed calls just getting reviewed.
Could you imagine how long an NFL game takes a fortnight anyway? Could you imagine if they had a VAR decision making on every single play and every single penalty?
It would still be faster than college football. There is nothing longer than a college football game. I will say that. A big college football game.
Smash what? FIFA trying to give Messi a win. That's absurd.
Yeah, that's absurd.
Messi, he's already won one. He won
the one last time. One. They want him to win another one, I guess.
No point.
That was rough. Okay, let's talk back on the I thought this was interesting on social media, and to kind of reset what we teased going to break. It's the question of why can't Team USA have a dominant soccer team? I think a lot of people, this is a different angle that I didn't even think about. But Frank, when usually you get that question asked, the most common answer is, well, in America with football and basketball and baseball, like the dominance, the best athletes play the other sports and not soccer because those are more popular. They get paid very well here in the United States. You grow up playing, everybody grows up playing soccer, but in America, based on the sports that are the favorite sports here, you get more kids and the best athletes playing in the NBA and playing in the NFL and playing Major League Baseball and so on and so forth. But the other one, too, I thought was interesting. This was brought up on social media. I have no idea who this account is. It's called Sport Book Reviews. But he brings up a good point. He's like, why can't the USA have a dominant soccer team? Look how much it cost to play under-9 soccer for my local team. My parents didn't pay even 10% of this in total for 8 years of me playing as a kid in Ireland. And you look at what it is, and this is on the lower scale of how much it costs to play club soccer. So this is at an elite level, right? And when we're talking about developing an elite football team, an elite soccer team here in the United States, these are the teams you play on, right? These are these elite teams. This is what it says about like Virginia Valor FC, player and parent. And I'm sure a lot of you guys driving around that are parents that have kids that play club sports or play sports understand this. And this might actually be cheaper than what you're paying. But they have annual player club dues for the year beginning July 1st, which is $3,200, $3,250, which includes a $400 non-refundable commitment fee.
Oh, for God's sake.
Payment options include a lump sum or an installment plan with applicable fees. Payment methods, credit card, preferred, no processing fees, check or e-check. Payment in full, due upon acceptance no later than July 15th. You got to pay $3,250. No discounts available. So installment plan 1, at acceptance, you got to pay $400, and then you're paying $475 the first of every month through December 1st. Plus, you have to pay a $12 installment fee for each one of those, which gives you a grand total of $3,322 to play 6 months of soccer.
That's not on top. That's total. That's not that $3,300 on top of the $3,200. It's $3,300 all in.
I think it's $3,300 out the door.
So
for 6 months.
So $3,300 all in.
Right. And this is one of the cheaper ones. A late fee of $25 will apply to any payment received past the due date.
Late fee.
I mean, like somebody in the comments was like, what people seeing this won't even realize is that this is on the lower middle side of the spectrum. Ridiculous. I mean, you wonder why. Your pool of players for Team USA eventually is already smaller than other countries because of the fact that most of the elite athletes in the United States are playing football and basketball and baseball, and some of them run track and field, right? Like, it's not number 1, 2, or 3 in the pecking order. So that already eliminates a lot of those athletes. And then you get to this, you have to just spend enormous amounts of money to be part of these clubs. And look, this is in Virginia. I mean, when you get to out here in California, and like I hear from parents about how much they're paying for club sports, which, by the way, used to be just for like the elite players, right? Like a kid was extra gifted. He was like 6 feet taller than everybody else.
This is interesting.
Monster kid. It's like, oh yeah, maybe Johnny over here should probably be playing with bigger kids or older kids.
This is really interesting, and I'm not going to out this.
Yeah, please don't.
This club.
Don't get us in trouble.
But on the registration form, it asks for your location, like which location you want.
Right.
Child's name, date of birth, email, telephone message. Father's name.
Okay.
Doesn't say mother's name. It doesn't ask for the mother's name.
It's just father's name?
It doesn't ask for a parent's name. It asks for father's name.
That's odd.
That's unique. I'll say that.
That is unique. But it's not just soccer. Like, I mean, obviously, like you see this with baseball. And I mean, soccer, at least you don't have to worry about equipment. They score again. Egypt.
They did.
They're like, take that, FIFA. I don't see this getting wiped out.
I didn't see it, so I don't know.
It looked pretty good. Egypt has taken a 2-0 lead in the 67th minute. It looked sick, dude. It was like totally sick. But the youth, we've talked about this a lot on our shows, I know it's a business, but you want to get. I mean, this is why you wonder why like kids don't enjoy
this one isn't
sports to an extent.
I'm looking at another one here. This is broken up for age groups. Under 4 is 170. Under 5 is 170. Under 6 is 190. Under 8's 219. 219 under 10. 219 under 12. 269 for under 14 and under 16. That's not ridiculous. You get a $20 military discount.
Oh, that's fun.
Siblings get $20 off each after the $20 each after the first player, and if you want to coach, get $150 off.
Somebody in the YouTube chat's like, just wait till you have kids. We'll be paying the money. Just like, why do you think I'm trying to fix this problem before I have children? Bring attention to it. This is a joke.
Yeah, that's why we're talking. That's why we're talking about this now.
Joke. It's a joke. But Frank, like honestly, like you wonder why, like, you know, a lot of families can't afford this. There's a lot of families that can't afford this.
No.
I mean, it's like, so you're sitting there going like, why can't Team USA have a good team? I don't know, because it costs like a mortgage for your kid to play soccer. I mean, that's just the membership fee. Do you think it's like, do you think that includes tournaments?
Equipment isn't cheap either. Cleats are like $250 for the cheap ones.
Do you think that includes tournaments?
No,
you got to pay all this money for tournaments. And then you get to these tournaments and guess what? You mind giving a $20 donation to the school that's hosting said tournament to park? Oh my God, you got to pay for that. And then you got to pay to go into the game to watch your kid play. Not to say that the $3,300 plus the $500 probably each for the tournament fee you had to pay. It's like, I'm already paying $5,000 for my kid to play. Now I can't watch unless I pay an extra $15 to $20. Give me a break.
Ben and Woods are in the Alt 94.9 studio recording a segment. Otherwise, I'd poke my head in there and go, Woods, how much are you paying for your kids to play baseball right now?
Why do you think Woods coaches his own teams? At that point, it's like, come on. Probably get a discount fee when you're the coach. I mean, it's ridiculous. And here's the other thing too.
Ref fees $70 per game.
Yeah, there
Travel.
you go. I mean, Fridge Watcher in the YouTube chat, our guy that we saw at NASCAR. He probably coaches his daughter's team, but like he's listing like all the stuff you got to pay for. How do you pay for this? I don't understand. I could barely take care of myself. How do you pay for this for your kid to play sports? Sports should be like accessible to as many people as possible. You wonder why we don't have these elite teams.
I think they're done. Hold on.
You're going to go ask him? Well, we got to get to a break. So, we'll ask him during the break. I think Woods does do Little League. This is why, they have these other... This is why I continue to tell people, if your kid is talented enough, they're going to find your kid. They will find them. It is their job to find your kid to be on their team. Somebody's going to find your kid. You don't have to play on this special team to get found by college coaches. They will find you. We need more cheaper options for youth sports. Keep the games growing. We'll see what Woods has to say when we come back. Has the FIFA World Cup just changed the future of college football? The expanded 48-team World Cup has been one of the biggest success stories in sports this year, with underdogs making deep runs and fans loving the added drama. Now the Big Ten wants the college football playoff to grow from 12 teams to 24, arguing more schools deserve a shot at the national title. But here's the problem. College football isn't soccer. A bigger playoff could make the regular season less meaningful and likely just add more SEC and Big Ten teams instead of a true Cinderella program. Should college football expand to 24 teams? Consider the college football playoff expanded 24 teams, or is bigger not always better? One of the biggest debates in college athletics this week has nothing to do with NIL, conference realignment, or recruiting. Instead, it's all about the future of the college football playoff. Expanded 48-team FIFA World Cup is delivering thrilling upsets and Cinderella stories, and many are asking if college football should follow suit by expanding the college football playoff from 12 teams to 24. Big Ten is leading the charge. Several conferences support the idea, but the SEC isn't sold. So has the World Cup actually proven that bigger is better? I want to talk about this from a lot of different angles. First of all, I view all of these decisions the same way I do with Major League Baseball and their current negotiations. I don't care who makes more money out of this. I want what is best for college football as a fan of what I want to consume as a college football fan. And what I would like to consume is an even playing field. Oh, almost like what I want to consume in Major League Baseball. And in order to do that, I think one of the things that you have to do is make sure the playoff is accessible to everybody when the season starts. I think that's eventually going to spread NIL out. I think that's eventually going to spread contracts out. I think it's better for the sport when you think about it as a whole. And what happens is as these things progress, as you mentioned on NCAA 27, the video game with NIL, as you get better, you get more money infused into the program. And when you have access for everybody to make the playoff, all of a sudden you get more money with TV contracts. You get more exposure. You're starting to get better players. And so when you sit there and go, North Texas has no business playing Alabama. Well, if they start to get the funding and they start playing better, all of a sudden the logo to you might recognize as not good might start to change based on the access, which I think eventually changes things. Now, when you look at this, the Big Ten wants to change the playoff because of the contract that is involved with the college football playoff of if it expands to 24 teams, or I think it's 16 to 24, whatever it means, because they're at 12 right now. ESPN then has to give up the contract and it has to be rebid for who televises the games. Big Ten has a contract with Fox. So again, I don't care who makes money. I don't know what the incentive is. That is what I'm looking for. And the SEC says no because they're not saying no because they don't think it's good for college football. They're saying no because it exposes them and they don't get to be the top dog anymore. So with all that being said, I think the 24-team playoff is the way to go for college football. I think it'd be best for college football. I don't think it doesn't eliminate the importance of the regular season. And I think you can use the FIFA World Cup as a guide of look how fun this game is with Cape Verde hanging with Spain and tying them in pool play. What about Cape Verde playing the world champion Argentina from the last time they played the World Cup, and they were within seconds of knocking them off? You could point to a lot of upsets that have happened in the FIFA World Cup, and I get it's different between soccer and football. But Frank, I think FIFA has really paved the path for college football to look at this and be like, you know what? Maybe expanding to 24 teams is great for the sport.
Yeah, and that's what FIFA announced, that it was going to increase from 32 teams to 48. Many expected blowouts, just more blowouts, less competitive play. And it's been the exact opposite. As you mentioned, Cape Verde, we've had incredible matchups all throughout the FIFA World Cup. And I think you can also go back to last year's playoff. Now, Tulane and James Madison didn't win. They didn't win their games, but man, they gave their opponents a run. I forget who each one of them played, but
Ole Miss and Oregon.
Those were close games right up until the very end. They put the other teams on watch. They put Ole Miss and Oregon on notice.
They definitely both punched them in the mouth early in the contest that show that they can hang. And what happens is, if they had the same funding or if they had the same access or years of like that, years of making the tournament and getting those playoff checks, they could eventually build to that point where it looks more even. But you're right, Frank. I mean, it's not the huge blowouts that you think you would see. In fact, when you see those blowouts, it's usually Power 4 teams going against each other.
Mm-hmm. No, exactly. So when you add these teams in, it's not that, oh, we're diluting this. We're diluting this tournament. We're forget about the regular season for a second. But the way this World Cup has played out, where you have teams like Cape Verde coming out of absolutely nowhere and hanging with the best. Now, you could call it luck, sure. You can also say that
Ooh. Painful to the emotions.
Why?
It's on the sheet. I just read it's on the sheet.
You could have gone with Buddy Bauman.
I was doing that for the next hour.
Oh.
It's Buddy Bauman Day. Classic.
CJ Abrams, by the way, is not only an all-star.
Yes.
He's an all-star starter.
Oh, good for him. I just got a text. It's the Argentina flag, and then it's responded with a fraud alert gif. Fraud! Egypt's got a 2-0 lead in the 79th minute. Argentina set piece on the corner kick. Headed out. We'll keep you updated if Argentina scores. All of our guests join us on the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not Big Bang Banking. It's better. All right. I mean, we talked about this in the last segment. There's some other things we wanted to get to, but, as somebody that coaches high school sports and seeing a lot of kids not play with their friends in high school and play club and have to pay all this money to play club. And look, it's not free to play high school sports, but as I mentioned before, goal. Egypt all put their hands up for an offside, but we'll see what happens. Argentina just made it 2-1. What a match. We'll see if it stands. I don't know.
And again, all of this wasted time goes into added time.
Yes. I thought it looked pretty. Let's see. Is his shoulder passed? That's a great header. What do you got?
Again, for those of you who don't know, offside, you have to be behind. You have to be in front of the furthest back player. So no part
before
of
the ball is kicked.
Yeah, before the ball is sent your way. So it's waiting now to see where's the beautiful line that they show.
Oh, they got to even look at it?
they're looking at it. They look at every goal.
We'll update you on that. Anyway, to go back to this conversation, they cleared it. They cleared it. Oh, well. We'll see if Argentina pours it on here. But anyway, to go back to our conversation that we were having, the
now explain a check swing in baseball. Augie, stop that.
No, stop that. They're going to put rules in for that for next year. I have noticed this now at the high school level where it just seems like most of the kids, and here's the thing that's crazy to me. You can quickly identify kids on these teams, Frank, that are going to be legit college players, and you can easily identify the one player on every team that has the potential to go very far. It's not hard to miss. But for some reason, like, and I get it, I'll understand probably more when I do have kids, but every parent thinks their kid's going pro, and it's not the case. And they spend all this money because people tell them, I can make your kid go pro. And it's like false promises, and it's just so much money instead of just letting the kids go have fun. And I mean, every year in and year out, I just get like less kids that love playing the game because they love the game and more that play because it's a job. And that to me is sad. Like, kids should be playing up in the high school. You should be playing, first of all, as many sports as possible. And you should be playing because you love playing the sport, not worried about like how much money you're going to get and scholarship and all this. Like, that's all great. Like, that's important stuff too. But you should love the game that you play. And I find like less and less kids like that every year I coach, Frank.
Yeah, and that really is unfortunate, is that you don't play because you enjoy the game anymore. You play because you kind of have to, because people have told you. And I think you will be different when you do have kids eventually, is that because you've been in it already. You're not going to get sweet talked by these scouts and these people because you've heard it all already. And you know the deal, you know how it works. So I don't see you getting fooled by that at all, but it is really depressing to see these kids kind of fall out of love with a game and turn it into a job at such a young age.
Or you have to make them pay a ton to go play a sport they love instead of having like more accessible leagues. And I just feel like we've gone so far to the club because everybody wants, I got to be on this club to showcase to this. That. I mean, showcases were such a joke when my brother was going through this, like the showcases they do for baseball and stuff. It's like, oh, let's have this kid like rear back and throw it as hard as he possibly can. And here's the thing. I tell people all the time, and this is what it is. I see it all the time. Your genetics are getting you recruited to the next level. Bang, tie game. Argentina just pouring it on to tie it up.
I think it was Messi again, too.
Messi in the 84th minute. Simply majestic.
Okay.
They always say that. Incredible.
He draws the foul.
Majestic. So many adjectives I would not use to describe sporting events things. Remarkable. Back to our conversations. We're distracted by Argentina and Egypt.
Squirrel.
Yes. Like, the thing is, though, Frank, if the genetics are going to get you to the next level, and then you have to be competent, because a lot of college coaches, at least for football, a lot of college coaches go, I can make that kid really good. And you're like, okay, well, this kid's not very good at anything, but he's gigantic. That's basically all he is. We'll take him. All right. Meanwhile, you got kids that do everything the right way, that are really good, talented, like 2 inches too small. Those are like the conversations. And like, those are the situations at hand. It's such a finite amount of people or kids that are going to make it to that next level. And the whole point of this conversation, which stirred it, was, why can't Team USA have a better team? I think a lot of it starts with the youth and how difficult it is to access being able to play these sports because they cost too much money.
Yeah, that. And I think it's also, a lot of it is that. First of all, you siphon out the kids who are tall so they play basketball, or big so they play football, or baseball because they have a rubber arm. And then the kids that are left have to pay this exorbitant amount of money for a fifth-tier sport in this country that no one really cares about, honestly, until World Cup time, and then everyone's a soccer expert. So it's that lack of opportunity. The best players are going to the big four sports, and then you're pricing out everyone else who actually does enjoy the sport.
Right. Again, it is genetics, though. I mean, yeah, I get Muggsy Bogues was a great. He hadn't played in a long time. It's a little bit like now. It's just like it's about size. I mean, even Nate Robinson, he played like recently, but he hadn't played in 10 years. He hadn't played in 10 years. Like, you look at the size of the players that are getting to college right now, they are huge. I mean, physical specimens across the board in all sports, in all college sports. I mean, it's a massive difference. Massive difference. But again, like, you got to be able to make it accessible. And I hate the whole like you have to play club in order to make it to the next level, which is not the case. And that I would say that too about like high school. And that's coming from me who coaches at a private school. You don't have to go to certain high schools to get noticed. You could go to whatever high school you want. If your kid is that good, they will find them. They will find him or her. They will find them. I mean, at this point in time, with social media and everything like that, they're going to find them. It's not like a mystery anymore. So they got to make it more accessible. I think, the battle with the other sports is changing a little bit. I think the with more Team USA playing well, the MLS expanding, I think a lot of people are really getting into soccer in the United States here. I think they're going to slowly improve on that front, but you can't make it super expensive. You just can't. And again, like, say, what about Altuve? Say that is like a even smaller percentage. And most of these guys, again, I'm talking about like getting to college. Because getting to college is like your first step for a lot of these teams. They're taking I'm telling you, they're taking the size over the skill almost every single time. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get to Padres baseball here in the next hour. We're going to get back to it. We got those clips from the pregame. I mean, you listen back to the pregame after watching last night's game, man, did you start to, scratch your head about what's going on down there? I mean, 8-0 last night to a team that Chris Ello said on the afternoon show, a team in Arizona that up until last night, and maybe it still is, the least scoring road team in all of Major League Baseball. Least scoring home team. Like, they've scored the least amount of runs out of any road team in Major League Baseball on average. Least. They put up 8 runs on the Padres last night. I mean, for this being the most important week of the season, to see what they're going to do at the trade deadline, to see, if they're going to stay in it, to try to keep the season alive, to make it not a lost season, the first game you have, you lose 8-0? I really don't want to start having off-season conversations before the All-Star break, but it's getting closer and closer to how do we improve this team for 2027 and beyond? Who's going to be available via free agency if you want to go that route? Can you make other trades? I mean, we're getting to a point right now, Frank, where this team is turning 2026 into a lost season.
Oh, it is. I think it already is, especially if they lose tonight. If they come out and play again tonight the way they did last night, the season's lost. I don't see a way out of it, especially with the way the top players have been performing. Fernando's hitting now, great. His biggest thing was not hitting home runs. He's starting to kind of do that now. Manny's still hitting under 200. Jake has come back and actually hit. He's making mistakes on defense, but he's hitting now. Jackson's still not hitting. He's starting to turn it around, but how many times have we said that already this year? And Xander's been hidden behind everyone else with all the other storylines, and he's not performing now either behind his hot start. So you could see like a window you could see in 2024 and 25 where the potential's there. I don't see it here with this one.
We're going to talk about last night's game when we come back. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show. Settings up with Sports Station 97.2 The Fan. Should probably plug my headphones in. I unplugged the headphones to because they were in a knot. I don't know who on the morning show put them in a knot, but they were in a knot. And so I had to untangle them because my OCD was going nuts. And so I had to untangle them during the break, and I forgot to plug back in. Argentina has taken the lead.
This is another good one my friend had many years ago. You're not OCD, you're CDO, which is OCD for people that are so OCD that you need to have the letters OCD in alphabetical order.
Foul.
He draws the foul.
We looked at VAR and have now calculated that is a foul. See, now you can't pull you missed it, it's been 2 passes. Because now with soccer, I could just go like this. Imagination. VAR.
No,
I know that's this. See in my little box on YouTube?
Yeah.
VAR. Let me see. Foul on Frank. All right, let's get settled back in here. Padres baseball last night. We talked about in the open. I mean, awful. Awful. And what makes it worse is a lot of the pregame comments from Craig Stammen, Manny Machado, and Jake Cronenworth. If you're just tuning in and you live under a rock and you don't know what happened last night in the Padres game, well, let's try to set you up for the Padres game with what they said yesterday during the pregame. Here's manager Craig Stammen during the pregame.
Johnny Brito, we saw him in the clubhouse today. What is the plan for him moving forward?
Yeah, he's going to be activated tomorrow. What role, that's to be determined. But we feel good about his rehab process. He's been pitching the ball well, and excited to get him a part of our pitching staff.
Does what happens tonight with your pitching staff factor into what his role could be tomorrow?
Yeah, I think all of that does. I think we've got an idea of what we probably are expecting tomorrow, but things change on a daily basis.
Craig, what's been the toughest thing for you to deal with the first half of the season?
Toughest thing for me to deal with the first half of the season, I think it's just, for me as a manager, being a different role than what all I know as being a player, is trying not to live and die with every win or loss, and trying to keep those emotions even keel and the same, and bringing a positive message to the players that's not panicked nor overly excited.
You always seem to have the same disposition whether you win or lose that I've seen,
Yeah, there's times where I got to take 5 minutes before I see you guys and collect those thoughts and get my right frame of mind. It's definitely not easy, and it's the hardest thing to do in life, is to manage the ups and the downs of how things go. And I'm just trying to do my best and be someone that's a positive influence and that the players can rely on to be the same every day.
And strategically, what's the most important thing you've learned to do as a manager?
I think it's always boils down to communication and how much you can communicate with these guys on a daily basis, your coaching staff, the front office, and be able to be, really good at having conversations, but also being willing to listen and think about other people's ideas and their feelings and being, put yourself in those shoes. I think if you're able to do that, you can come out and make better decisions.
With the ups and downs of the first half of the season, the importance of having this last homestand before the All-Star break, before you sort of pause and you said, just to finish off strong before we go to break.
Yeah, definitely. I think based on how we've played here this last 6 weeks, every game from here on out is pretty important. We're not playing it like Game 7, but we've got to play our best, from here on out to have a chance to compete for a playoff spot and make a run at the end.
That last part, it's very important, obviously. That was before yesterday's performance. Jake Cronenworth was asked kind of the same thing about how important this week is. His take of, the past few weeks and what's different about this team compared to the 2021 team, but the keys to the final homestand before the All-Star break. It's very important. These 7 games, very important. Here's Jake Cronenworth before the game yesterday.
Rough road trip for you guys, able to end it on a positive note. What do you see now as being key as you guys head into this last homestand ahead of the All-Star break?
Yeah, I think it's taking advantage of these last 7 games here at home. These are big games. We're playing the Diamondbacks, who are right there with us, and then the Blue Jays, who are really good. And we got to go about this week and taking advantage of these games at home.
You mentioned the Diamondbacks and them being right there with you in the standings. Does that add a sense of urgency at all for you guys?
I think these last few weeks have added that sense of urgency. A lot of the teams that we're playing are a lot of the teams that we're competing with for those playoff spots. And no.
What did he just say? What did he just say? What did he just say?
Most important series coming up.
What did he say? No, he said, no, I think the last couple of weeks has given us that sense of urgency. Excuse me? What have they done in the last couple of weeks? Am I missing something here? The sense of urgency? They lost 23-3. They blew a 6-0 lead. They blew a 3-0 lead. They lost 8-0 yesterday. I mean, it's like the last couple of weeks have given us a sense of urgency. Where is it? Sense of urgency? The last couple of weeks? It's like the longest losing streak they've had since like 2013. Sense of urgency? Last couple of weeks? Oh.
I think he means now they have a sense of urgency because of the last couple
When was this?
weeks.
This was before what game? Last night's game. And what happened in last night? 8-0. Good bless America. God bless America. New sense of urgency. All right, let's go back to it. Let's see what else he had to say.
More than ever going into the break, especially we got to finish strong.
Jake, you've gone through a lot with this team. You've seen a lot of good and bad baseball. What do you make of the last couple of weeks from this team?
Yeah, I mean, the tough thing is watching the games on TV when I was gone. It just didn't look like us. And I think, yesterday was a flash of what it looks like. And, we haven't played great baseball, but there's been flashes of good pitching, flashes of good offense, and it's just matching those together in the same game and getting some wins.
What's it going to take to get this thing really rolling?
I think it goes back to the previous question. It's, we got to take advantage of these home games. This is a fun place to play, and I think everybody's excited to be home, especially after that road trip.
There's been a lot of parallels to 2021 and how the team collapsed on the stretch. Do you see a lot in common with that? What's different about this Padres team?
No, I mean, I think it's a lot different. I think you look at the group we have in here, it was only my second year here, and a lot of the guys that were on that team aren't here anymore, and we have obviously a few of us were on that team, but I think it's a way different group, a team with a lot more experience, and we've been through those ups and downs and know how to get out of it now.
Is there anything?
And that.
One man.
We ought to get out of it now. Haven't really shown that they've been able to get out of anything this year. Been able to get out of it?
And by the way,
have they shown anything like in the last 2 months that they know how to get through this? That they learned from 2021? I mean, I love the question because it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, there's some truth to what Jake Cronenworth said. It's a way different team roster-wise, but they still have kind of the same core in 2021. They still have, they still have Manny, and, Fernando was part of that team in some capacity. And no, he was part of that team that year. And Jake Cronenworth, and it's the same kind of guys. And where have you seen, Frank, this? We know how to get out. We have an experienced team that knows how to get out of this.
Padres over everything. Bro, you were up, down, left, right, side to side telling us we can't afford to sell. Have we said start selling now? Have we said that? We're analyzing it. And again, it's crazy to think that opinions change once new information is presented. Funny how that works. And also wanted to remind everyone from the clip that this was pregame yesterday.
Right.
So when he says we saw flashes of it yesterday, he's talking about Sunday in LA. He's not talking about last night. Just a reminder for anyone who came in the middle of that.
Here's the other thing too. As I said every time, it's funny. So I asked my roommate that. I was talking about, sometimes he tunes in, sometimes he doesn't. He's getting locked in for Cowboys now because of the fact that the Padres have played as poorly as they have. And I said, yeah, I mean, most of social media wants the Padres team to sell. You know what his reaction was? Sell what?
Exactly.
What are you going to sell? There's nothing to sell.
You trade Ty France. You can listen on Adrian Morahone. But other than
That's
that, what
it,
do you have
man.
to sell?
Oh, Mason Miller is going to give us all the best players in the world. No, he's not. No, he is not. You got nothing to sell, man. You got nothing to sell. This isn't the 2015 Padres where you got Justin Upton on a one-year deal that you could sell and then add to your prospect capital. You have nothing that is going to get you what you think it's going to get you. You could get some throw-in prospects to say you did something. Sure. Yeah, you can sell Michael King, I guess. Maybe. What are you going to get for Michael King? What did we talk about yesterday? What did Dennis Lynn talk about yesterday on the morning show?
He's a player option, too, does he not?
He can opt out of any contract, yeah. He can opt out of any contract.
I don't see why he would based on his performance this year.
I don't know. Everybody opts out of contracts now. I mean, I didn't think Alex Bregman was going to opt out, and he opted out.
That was just he wanted out of Boston.
Hey, Bo Bichette's going to opt out.
Good.
Exactly.
Go away.
He's a rental, but like, what are you going to get? What are you going to get? Let's say you got a number 2 prospect for Michael King in an organization who was a former first-round draft pick. There's no guarantee that guy even's going to do anything for you anyway. Because you know who's the number 2 prospect and a first-round draft pick? Robert Hassel III. I'm telling you, you're not getting what you think you're going to get. Dennis Lynn said it yesterday. The only organization, the only one that's willing to pull the trigger on trading their top prospect is A.J. Preller. He can't sell Mason Miller to himself. You're not going to re-sign Morahone. Adams not going to get re-signed. If you trade Mason Miller, what do you got next year? By the way, you don't have to trade him this year. You could probably trade him in the offseason if you really wanted to. You would probably get more in the offseason for Mason Miller than panic selling him at the trade deadline. You're not going to get what you think you're going to get. Everybody goes like, you're going to get a haul. You're going to get like 5 players. Okay. You better hope 2 of them turn out to be good.
You're also not going to get what you think you're going to get for him because he's a pitcher. He's not making an impact every single day the way a Juan Soto was.
Correct.
So that automatically knocks him down.
What A.J. Preller gave up for Mason Miller, you are not getting back. You're not. Because teams don't give up their number 1 prospect. They usually don't. So you're not going to get what you gave up for Juan Soto, but let's just say you did. I talked about this yesterday. Let's say you give up Mason Miller and you get back what you sent to Washington for Juan Soto. That is 4 out of a top 5 4 of an organization's top 5 prospect with multiple first and second round draft picks. What you sent to Washington, 4 of those guys plus the 19th overall prospect, they got 2 guys out of it. Now, maybe that 2 guys works out for you, but that's if everything goes right. You get 2 players out of it. You're not going to get that for a guy that pitches every once in a while that only gets you about 65 innings, 70 innings if you're lucky, in a closer. And most times, teams that are competing don't have good farm systems because they're the ones that are looking for players to make a run because they have a good team. And guess what good teams don't do? They don't draft high because they don't have the high draft stock.
Would love to get Leo DeVries back for Mason Miller. You don't know what Leo DeVries is going to be.
You don't know. You still don't know.
Robert Hassel was the number 2 prospect. He just got cut. He just got cut as the number 2 prospect when he got sent to Washington.
Jay Munoz SD goes, I'm taking that Washington trade back gladly. All right, who's pitching for you? That's how you got most of your pitchers. They're not very good right now, but who's pitching for you?
You got Michael King, Randy Vasquez, and Dylan Cease out of that trade. And Johnny Brito, who's most likely starting tonight.
That's your lit. I mean, that's most of your pitchers, right? Oh,
You
and you had Dylan Cease out of that deal too.
You got 4/5 of a starting rotation and one left in free agency because you weren't going to pay him $200 million to keep him.
Nobody's pitching for us now. It's a good point.
That's, you know what?
It's fair.
It is.
If this team had C.J. Abrams and James Wood on it, are they drastically better than what they currently are? Somebody still has to pitch. You're still giving up a ton of runs in the first inning. It's nothing changes. Nothing changes. But again, nobody listens, dude. It's so funny. But anyway, let's go back to what this discussion was about with this team.
Do you guys have any opinions on how to make things better, or are we just talking about what we can't do? We have. You guys don't listen, though.
Nobody listens. No. Nobody listens. They just whine, bitch, and moan the whole time. A lot of the times. But you know what? They're passionate. They want the team to do well. And right now, they're not. And they're not a very good baseball team right now. But, you know, I just don't think you're going to get what you think you're going to get. Because everybody's like, the collective on social media is like, you have to sell. And my answer is always, sell what? And the response is, sell this guy for a haul. I mean, if I wanted to sell my house, I would love to. What are you going to sell your house for?
A haul.
I'm going to sell it for $50 million. Okay? Well, somebody's got to be willing to pay for that. I've already said what I would do if I was the Padres right now. I would trade on the margins. I would try to get, you know what? See what you could get out of Ty France. See what you can get out of Miguel Andujar. See what you could get out of some of these guys around the edges.
They might score 6 and lose 8-6. Someone just said in the chat. Yeah, I would have taken an 8-6 loss last night because that would have at least shown some competition and fire.
Right. And then you try to add some. I think you try to add some pieces for next year. I said it yesterday. It doesn't change. I mean, you have to try to address some of your offseason stuff now at the trade deadline if you can. I wouldn't trade for any rentals per se, but you have, this is the team that you built. You can't just hit the reset button because things aren't going well this year. You can't. And when you do hit the reset button, you want to try to do everything that people are saying you could magically do, which is not possible. It sets you back like 8 years.
No, we do understand. Hold on. I just saw a comment here.
What do we got?
Here it is. This team is getting older, not younger. We're going to get worse every single year. Don't you understand that? Yes, we do understand that.
Are the Dodgers getting worse every single year?
But that's the hole that you've dug yourself into with these monster contracts. This is what you signed up for, which is exactly what we said yesterday. This is what you signed up for when you sign and then extend Manny Machado. This is what you sign up for when you sign Jackson Merrill to a long-term deal, when you sign Xander Bogaerts to a long-term deal, when you sign Fernando Tatis Jr. to a long-term deal.
That's right.
Yes, we do know that. We are very well aware of it. We said it yesterday.
Go back and listen.
Yes, we do know that. There are problems that this team is going to have to wait until time out and just wait for it to naturally fix itself when the contracts run out. No team on earth is going to take Manny Machado's contract, is going to take Fernando's contract, is going to take Xander's contract. No shot. That is why you can't tear it down. That is the exact reason why you can't just do the big fire sale that everybody wants to do. Because if you're doing a fire sale, you are changing the entire direction of the organization. You're saying, you know what we've done isn't working. We're going to regroup and change. But because you can't do that, because you have the monster contracts that you have on your books, that you can't do that complete and total organizational change. So you have to change around the margins, which is what we have been saying. If you're going to change around the margins, that is most likely something that is going to be done during the offseason, especially if everyone is having a bad season the way they are right now. You're not going to be able to change that at the trade deadline. You are going to be able to change that, though, during the offseason. You can bring guys in then, too. Right. We're saying the same thing. We are stuck, which is what we've been saying for months.
Right. Again, it's easy to say they need to sell for a haul, but until you start listing specifics, it doesn't really matter. You could just say this. But what you have to do is you pick the plan, which was invest in star players, right? As they age, giving out big contracts in free agency, and you have to stick with the plan. If you keep flipping your plan all the time, you're never going to get better.
AJ Preller did those contracts. He put us in this hole. Fire him now. If you fire AJ Preller, guess what you're still going to have? All of those contracts.
Everything's still the same. It doesn't really matter. We need to take a break. If you want to give us a call, which I recommend everybody in the YouTube chat to do, please call. It's easy, just type away. Give us a phone call, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Braden Surprenant Show continues. San Diego Summer Sports Station 97.2 The Fan. Toyota absolutely owned NASCAR this weekend at Chicagoland. Chase Briscoe beat teammate Christopher Bell in an incredible finish. Joe Gibbs Racing swept the top 3 spots, and Toyota placed 7 cars in the top 10. The first time they've done that in Cup Series history. Meanwhile, Tyler Reddick's championship lead has completely disappeared after another mechanical failure. Denny Hamlin now sits comfortably atop the standings with the playoffs fast approaching. Then there's Shane Van Gisbergen and Austin Hill. Did SVG intentionally wreck Hill as payback for Coronado? NASCAR is reviewing the incident. Penalties could be coming this week. Over in Formula One, Charles Leclerc gave Ferrari its biggest win in months at Silverstone, while George Russell gained ground in the championship after Kimi Antonelli suffered heartbreaking mechanical issues. Across the motorsports world, championship races are tightening, and the drama is only getting started. Before we talk about NASCAR, how about the stock cars at Le Mans over the weekend?
Yes, that was a lot of fun to see a lot of those old cars, ones that I grew up watching and have been watching for years, going around Le Mans. That was absolutely fantastic. The NASCAR Classic, so much fun to see those cars back out on track again.
Yeah, they hit 197 a couple of times. I think Kurt Busch did at least once when he was out there driving at Le Mans. But Toyota took over Chicagoland. The biggest story in motorsports from Chicagoland Speedway. Toyota didn't just win, they completely dominated. And when you think about, first of all, they got all the races in at Chicagoland too, despite the torrential downpour throughout most of the weekend. But we were talking about this in Coronado. I mean, Chevy does not look good with their new cars.
No.
And they haven't been good all year. And Ford isn't anywhere close. And Toyota has just completely dominated the stock car racing. What do the other brands have to do and manufacturers have to do to kind of get back on track? Because Toyota has really taken the lead in this season.
It has mostly to do with the body and the way air flows around it. Toyota has figured that out the best. Chevrolet got a new body this season. It has not worked out for them. It's looking better. William Byron led the most laps at Chicagoland over the course of the weekend. But other than that, I mean, Chevrolet's Cup program has been in absolute shambles this season because they still have not figured out the aerodynamics around this new body and how this new body is it makes air and moves it around, and they're getting close. But I mean, it's kind of like in Formula One where you saw the years of Mercedes dominance, you see the years of Red Bull dominance. When something changes and one team has such a wide advantage the way Toyota does over Chevrolet and Ford, it takes another change before that really comes back to center again.
And those are two brands that were dominating the stock cars for years and decades. And Toyota's really, landed a big punch.
And now there's rumors that Dodge might be getting in on the mix as well.
I was going to ask, are they going to bring Dodge
year.
back?
Yep.
I was literally about to ask you what happened to Dodge and why aren't they coming back? But
they left because they didn't have enough teams to run it. in 2010, I believe it was. They just brought their truck program back this year with the Dodge Ram, and now they're talking about bringing in a Cup car for next season, potentially.
So we talk about Toyota, taking over Chicagoland, but individually, I mean, Chase Briscoe did a good job of holding off his teammate Christopher Bell. They captured the victory, giving Toyota its 12th win in 19 NASCAR Cup Series this season. Briscoe, Bell, Denny Hamlin swept the podium for Joe Gibbs Racing. And we can talk about Toyota all you want, but those are some of the big, winners this weekend, or should I say, those are the big performances this weekend. Chicagoland, a place they have been in a long time. William Byron led most of the laps for Chevy, but could only manage fourth place. Briscoe definitely boosted him in the standings. Now at the 8th in the championship standings, giving him valuable momentum as NASCAR playoffs continue to get closer. What was your biggest takeaway from Chicagoland this weekend?
It's still a very good track. It's still a very fun track. It's changed a lot. I think if they do want to come back, they got to smooth out some of the bumps. There's a nasty bump going into turn 1 that the ARCA cars didn't really have to deal with, that the Xfinity and the Cup cars did. You could see them really bottoming out and having some trouble there. And also in turns 3 and 4, we saw Kyle Larson spin out by going over one of the bumps and bottoming out and losing the back end on one of the bumps. So I think they could diamond grind it down a little bit. I wouldn't change much else other than that. It proved to be a great place for racing, and the 2 lower series, the ARCA series and the O'Reilly series, put on great shows this weekend. The Cup followed just the same.
Let's talk about SVG and Austin Hill. Austin Hill wiped out SVG and Coronado,
The whole field, pretty much.
and wiped out all the favorites for the road course in San Diego. And yesterday, SVG appeared to have 11:27 on the Braden Surprenant Show, broadcasting live at the Bill House Studios. We know how. All of our guests join us on the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not Big Bang Banking. It's better. Give me a call. Come on. It's more fun to hear you guys talk about this stuff. Somebody like in the YouTube chat was like, you want to keep, saying that we got to keep the course the same. Did either you or I go, you know what, Frank, this team needs to trade Ethan Salas, and this team needs to sign another big contract?
You know what?
Come on.
Great idea.
Nobody listens, dude. Like, start working. You know what?
You're so interested in hearing what you want to hear that you just completely gloss over what is actually said, and then tell the person that you're arguing with to pay attention, which is the debate equivalent to know you.
This is what I ask, okay? Go ahead and lay out what you would do. And instead of saying like an arbitrary name or an arbitrary thing of trade, you know what, Frank, I'm going to say this for a second. You know what I would do? I would trade Mason Miller for 4 guaranteed All-Stars every year. I would. Wouldn't you?
Yep.
If I could take Mason Miller and trade him to a team and get an everyday starting center field that's an all-star, and an everyday shortstop that's an all-star, and an everyday catcher that's an all-star, and an everyday DH that's an all-star, I would totally do it. But the problem is, just because they're top prospects doesn't mean it's a guarantee. I would rather keep guarantees that I have under contract than trade for chances.
But we don't have any youth, though.
You have youth. Samad Taylor's young. Jace Bowen's young. You said youth. You didn't say good, solid players, right?
You said young. You
just said young.
Good.
You didn't say like top prospects. We need youth. You have it. There's young guys out there. They got young guys out there. But this is like, I have. All right, let me ask you this. You're Mr. Car Guy. You're Frankie Left. Yeah, hold on. You're Frankie Left Turns. You're Frankie Left Turns. Oh, my God. Now I do have to address this. This is crazy. Braden, this is in the YouTube chat. This is great. You take a time. You know what? Let's get your blood pressure back down, Frank. Let's get your blood pressure back down. We're going to get to the phone calls in a second. And I'm going to ask you that Frankie Left Turns question. My God. Braden, I don't know how long you've lived in San Diego, but I've been here my whole life. I've seen this team sell every year and never re-sign anybody.
No, that wasn't the one I was talking about.
But I'm just hurting to hear you guys talk the way you are instead of being positive. We get it. There's nothing we can do right now once the Oh man.
You want us to hold the team accountable. You say we're being positive. You say we're just a mouthpiece for the organization.
We were called toxic positive. Toxic positivity.
And then when we do hold the team accountable, you say, why aren't we being positive? Why aren't we looking on the bright side?
Just saying.
What do you guys, what do you want us to do?
How about this one? Pair Bogart's contract with Mason Miller, pay at least 60 to 70% of his contract. Why would you do that?
That doesn't free up the money.
You still have to pay the money.
You still have to pay it.
It's still now you're just not going to have two of your better players.
And you're paying one of them to not play for you.
Correct. For a long time. It's better for him to play for you than it is to pay against it. I mean, come on. Seriously. I like this one too. It's like you're asking people to name prospects that you have no idea their internal value or what their management needs. I can name a few people I'd trade Miller for. That doesn't mean I know if the teams would make that trade. Isn't that the whole point of our conversation?
Yep.
That's literally the entire point of our conversation. I would trade Mason Miller for a haul. A haul of what? A haul of what?
Give me your prize pig and a bag of rice.
I'll take your finest silk, sir. Thank you. Oh, man. It's great. I love it. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Kevin, Jane, Brandon, Brad, Brandon, Jim. We got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to get your phone calls. Feel free to join in. 11:38. Braden Surprenant show. I mean, it's great. Oh, yeah. Jimmy Jam's back in the YouTube chat. That's money. I disagree with a lot of things he was saying.
We have
but
Jimmy Johnson in the chat?
No, Jimmy Jam. The guy, Eric, that was being annoying, he told me, he said in the thing, I was like, why is your icon J? And he was like, so you should go by Jimmy Jam. I'm like, you know what? You go by Jimmy Jam, you can say whatever you want. That's hilarious. Jimmy Jam. How did you come up with Jimmy Jam? Jimmy Jam? YouTube chat, unhinged. Again, here's how this thing works. The trade deadline, and historically during the trade deadline, you don't get nearly as much as like you would do during the offseason. The offseason, I think, to me, would be a better time if you were going to actually trade Mason Miller, if you really wanted to just get rid of everybody. He would be like one of the easiest guys to move. You're going to get more in the offseason than you're going to be at the deadline. And as Dennis Lynn said, the Padres really don't want to trade him away. And by giving him up, well, let me ask you this, Frank. We're going to get to the phone calls because everybody wants to like rebuild and stuff. How many years out from now do you think the Padres, if they were selling, were going to like how because remember, everybody thinks you could do this fast. Well, if you can do it fast, are you going to be like good again before the end of the control on Mason Miller?
No.
No, if you do it fast, right? Like if you like, just say you get it done in like a year and a half, 2 years. I'm asking you, like, if you think you could do it, like,
yeah,
how fast
sure,
do you think
why
that?
not?
Right?
You know?
It's like, so wouldn't you want the closer at that point? Then you got to then at the deadline you got to trade prospects for a closer. Isn't that how this works?
I have an idea. At that when it's time, I don't know if you know where I'm going with this yet. When it's time, though, I have a great idea for a guy you could trade for.
Who?
Mason Miller.
Yeah,
because he'll be a rental then. It won't cost you as much.
Right, exactly. You can go get him from somebody else. No. Again, the reason why the Padres shouldn't trade Mason Miller is because they're not going to get the return that a lot of people think they're going to get. I would rather have guarantees of what a player is than a false sense of hope of these guys might all be studs, but then they're, you're rolling the dice. I would rather take the devil I know than the devil I don't.
Johnny Brito is not starting tonight, by the way. I just saw that.
I saw that yesterday. I thought maybe you had some more information, but
no, I was going off of what we heard from Craig in pregame that he might be starting, but it's Marquez starting tonight.
Yes, I did see that. The Marquez was starting. But again, it's not going to solve your problems. You would have to trade for 3 or 4 AAA guys, and they would have to be immediate impacts because, again, even though your window seems like it's closed, you are in win now mode because you took on these contracts. This is the deal. Can't pay. To me, doing what a lot of social media Padres fans want would be emotional. They would be emotional decisions. And emotional decisions are not intelligent decisions. And again, our boy Jimmy Jam, we're boys now. Jimmy Jam.
By the way, David Vu is David Vu's a sock account for the show, by the way.
Which is weird because he's a Baylor alum, and I dislike Baylor.
Yeah, but he's a sock account for the show. So now you know.
Well, here's the thing. Here's what's funny.
I've been messaging his.
Here's
David
what's
Vu
funny about
time.
online comments. People give their take or their idea. I disagree with said take, and then all of a sudden it's massive hurt feelings for no reason. Hey, we're having a discussion. I think some of these takes are funny. I do, which is the same thing from what a lot of people in the YouTube chat were thinking our takes were. They were like, ha, 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 ha. Give me a call. 833-288-973, 833-288-973. We'll start with one of our more positive callers. I gotta hear from Brandon in Carlsbad how he's going to make this a little positive. Brandon in Carlsbad, you're on the Braden Surprenant show. What's going on?
Yeah, what's up, Frank? What's up, Braden? Toxic positivity coming down the pipeline, ladies and gentlemen. Kevin from Chula Vista said it last week or something. This is what we signed up for. I'm sorry, my wife's looking at me, and I'm talking in the parking lot.
Are we going to put Brandon in the doghouse? We got to his phone at the wrong time.
Brandon looks crazy in the parking lot, boys.
Yeah. Well, I'm at my our condo complex. Anyways, we have long-term contracts. What are you going to do about it? Hey, the Peanuts gang that has nothing but time to stroke a keyboard there in the chat on YouTube. I don't have that luxury, so I call in. Okay, this is what you're stuck with. Okay, the fire sale ain't gonna happen. If anyone wants to go on Calci, let's do it because it ain't gonna happen. This is part of the Friar faithful. You're either gonna be faithful or you're not. Doesn't mean I have my moments where I'm not positive, but this is what we got. Who knows what we're gonna do? Weirder things have happened. Like you, Braden. This is all I know. I was born in Tri-State Hospital in Oceanside in 1978, and here I am now at 48 years old. And Friar faithful, dude. I don't know what to say about any of it. It's frustrating, but that's my team. Got to roll with the punches. Love you guys. God bless. Have a great rest of the day.
See you, Brandon. 833-288-973, 833-288-973.
I also do appreciate how Brandon addresses me first, and your name's the one on the show. I do appreciate that, though. Thank you.
You know what?
Brandon.
He has to give credit to the hard workers of the show. The hard workers of the show. Your boy Max. I didn't know that was your boy. I forgot about that.
That's my boy
from post game.
From post game the other night.
Man, we got the post game people infiltrating the chat today. This is what he said. Keep Miller, 2026 bad team, 2027 bad, 2028 bad. That's if you keep Mason Miller. You're going to have bad teams this year, next year, and the year after.
Okay.
But if you trade Miller, Frank, you're going to have a bad team this year. You're going to have fun prospects to watch next year. And then in 2028, you might be interesting again. And then in 2029, there's reason to care about the standings again. But that is only if you trade Mason Miller. That's the only way. That guy typed that out and was like, I'm cooking right now. Our boy Max thinks he's cooking right now in the chat. It's funny, dude. I just think it's funny. I think it's so upset. I love the chat. I tell you what, though, my new favorite chatter today is Jimmy Jam. I expect Jimmy Jam to be in the chat every day this week. We're boys now. And it's strictly because he goes by Jimmy Jam. Jimmy Jam. That is awesome. I love Jimmy Jam. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Brad Escondido. You're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Brad?
Boys, how are you? I'm moving to South Carolina in 2 days, so I had to call and bring my Keep the Faith call. Got to keep the faith, people. But here's the thing. This is like going to a musical watching a Padre game right now. It is horrible. I hate musicals, man. I take a Sharpie and cross the songs off as I sing. It's terrible. But hey, keep the faith. No trade, people. Our contracts are stupid. You know, we got 4 Hosmers right now. So keep the faith, folks. Keep the faith. Love you, boys. Frank, you are the best, by the way. And Braden, I love you, man.
Thank you very much. Have a safe move.
Brad in Eskin, South Carolina.
Eskinlina.
Oh, man, we're making Jimmy Jam log in from work. Hey, as long as you don't get fired for doing that, you should tell your boss that it should be allowed. You should get the extra time. Hey, you know what? I'll say this about Jimmy Jam in the YouTube chat.
Max has had it again. Braden, you're literally sitting there saying keep him. Why? You've yet to explain in other than because we know how good he is.
Why wouldn't you keep something you know that's good to trade for something that may or may not be good? You know, Max would be great on Let's Make a Deal.
You could have a boat, or you could
do this.
have the mystery box.
Let's do this. You're Frankie Four Wheels. You're Frankie Left Turns. This guy knows motors more than anybody else. At least that I just believe it. Okay, I'm just going to go with that. Okay. Give me you see this stupid stuff on Instagram. Give me a car that represents Mason Miller.
He's a Ferrari.
A Ferrari. Now, there has to be at least... Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're on Let's Make a Deal. You got a Ferrari sitting there. That is yours.
Mm-hmm.
That is your Ferrari. But in this special box, mystery box, there are 4 things in there. They could all be Ferraris. They could all be piles of dog turd. Would you like to take the box?
Listen, a Ferrari's a Ferrari, but the mystery box could be anything.
The mystery box could be anything.
It could even be a Ferrari. So I'm going to take the box.
Oh, took the box. What's in the box? That's the game you're playing. So, yes, I personally, a little bit more conservative on that particular approach, probably going to take the Ferrari because I know what it is. Then he's going to open the box. It's going to be 4 piles of dog turd. And you're like, oh, I could have had the Ferrari. Sometimes the grass isn't always greener on the other side. And sometimes the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. That's all I'm saying. I mean, you could go that way. I personally would not do that. I would not do that.
Baseball is about winning, not one guy is good.
You want to roll the dice? You can roll the dice.
Max, we had this discussion. I believe it was either Friday or Saturday night after the game. You refused to name names then as far as prospects you wanted. And anytime I gave an idea, I said, okay, well, if you want to restart the franchise, you need to trade a guy. So Xander Bogaerts is a part of the core. No one's talking about Xander. Okay, so then you want to trade on the fringes. What do you think you're going to get out of Jake Cronenworth right now? No one's talking about Jake. You have refused to name names. That is the one rule we have in this show, is if you're going to come in here with trade ideas, if you want to fire people, name names.
That's all we ask. Let's get out to Kevin in Chula Vista here on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Kevin?
Wow, this is getting entertaining. Frank, you're the number one guy, man. I'm going to take good care of you. Don't worry. You're all good. You're from New York, so us East Coasters got to stick by you.
Yeah, but don't worry, my name will be in neon soon. Don't worry about it.
Oh God, we're having fun today. So we got to go up and help our good friend Brandon. He's in deep dung with the wife. So let's be on the lookout. All you guys in North County, go up and help our good friend Brandon out. All right. So let's take care of our own. Anyway, getting back to Jake and what he said, he was only half right. And I'll say it again. This team has been in current iteration when you count the pitchers and the position players since about 2019? Is that what we got, Braden?
Yeah.
2019, since they all got here. And to date, this group, which we have spent over $2 billion on, has yet to play a full season together, healthy and productive at the same time. And therein lies the problem, number one. Number two, if you're talking about this inane discussion about the trade deadline, you need 3 starting pitchers, folks. Where are you going to get that from? You aren't. Every other team is looking for power pitchers and power hitters. And so the only discussion that needs to happen right now is, how do you salvage what you got? And if you really think that this team is going to get you to the World Series, which I think most of us agree, based on what we have seen and experienced, probably isn't going to be the year, then your trade, you need to just lower your expectations. Think about Adam Frazier. Think about, that's what's come in here in the past. So the only way I would discuss anything about a trade is if you really thought that the trade was going to put you over the top. And they're not that close. That's the problem. So this bottom line for me is this new ownership, if it ever gets approved, is going to have to make some very difficult decisions about the contract guys. And there may be a time where they're going to have to eat some money to move this roster. And I am a little bit different of opinion than you guys. I don't think if the Padres retooled, and I don't think you have to do a massive rebuild. I think you need to do a smart rebuild and get a roster that complements itself from top to bottom. I think AJ can do that given the proper resources and directions. And I do believe that it can be done shorter and sooner than later. So I have a high degree of optimism if we can just have this new ownership group. And I think they're going to understand that real quick, that they're going to have to do something because the fans are going to stop coming. You saw a lot of empty seats last night. That's going to be the future if this thing continues to snow dive. And, sans what Jake said, look, 21, they nosedive, 23, they nosedive. This year, God only knows how far down they're going to go. So this is what this group has brought us. And I don't think they're going to take us any further, given the age and the lack of physical health. This is not a squad now that you can realistically say is going to take you to division championships and World Series. It would have happened by now.
We appreciate the phone call, Kevin.
My bad.
There's a couple of things that I disagree with in that. We're going to continue your phone calls. Benoit and Oceanside, Frank and RB, Brandon El Cajon, Jim and Carlsbad. Wait on hold to get to you to start the noon hour. If you want to give us a call, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Braden Surprenant Show rolls on. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
San Diego. Turn it up. From the dugout to the sidelines, from the front office to the fan in the stands, this is where San Diego sports comes to be heard.
College athletics is the gift that keeps on giving. This is why I love this stuff.
He's not just talking about the game, he's driving the conversation, breaking it down, calling it out, and saying what everyone else won't.
They start licking their chops, man, when they hear like, oh, look at all these guys the Padres could potentially trade.
This is the voice San Diego Sports trusts on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
We're your favorite show.
This is the Braden Surprenant Show.
Think about the children, the family show.
Now, here's Braden Surprenant.
New lunchtime hour. We're broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios. We know how. Max is my new. You know what, Jimmy Jam? Max is making a run. That my new favorite listener in the YouTube chat. He makes me smile. It puts a smile on my face. I laugh. It makes me happy. It's
yes,
great.
it does. I agree with you.
It's hilarious.
Braden, as I always do.
It's great. Yeah, that's right. You always agree with me. Isn't that your job? Is that your job description?
It is. That is. It says it on my check. Every week, every 2 weeks, it says, good job agreeing with Braden.
You know what? Our guy Max in the YouTube chat was talking about what San Diego wants and what San Diego needs. And I think, Frank, if Max on the YouTube chat calls into the show, I think it would help the Padres get on a winning streak. And, I think that's what he needs to do as a fan. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Maybe he can. Maybe he can help get this team going by giving us a call. What were you saying earlier? I don't listen to what you have to say.
I don't listen to you either. Comment in the chat. I think people need to embrace what Frank said earlier. We move forward with what we have until 2033. We can only try and develop players and make smart moves at best.
Okay. We're trying to fix the Padres' problems here. Obviously, it's rough out there. We talked about yesterday. Okay.
We haven't even talked about the game yet yesterday.
We don't need. Do we need to?
No, we don't. But still, it's like we haven't even gotten to that.
I mean, okay. So somebody was like, you're just saying what the problems are. What are the solutions be? I mean, right now, if you're the Padres,
solutions.
If right now, Frank,
mm-hmm.
The Padres are. I would say this about the Padres going to the deadline. Number one, they can't trade Ethan Salas.
No, God, no.
They can't trade Ethan Salas for anybody. And I'm going to be honest with you. Even if they were 3 games behind LA and having a great year, I still don't think there's anybody out there that is going to make trading Ethan Salas worth it.
No, that's when.
So they can't do that.
That's when trading Schoolcraft and I always forget the other one. Who's the other pitcher?
Mayfield.
Cash Mayfield. That's when trading those two become a little bit more tolerable. Right now, those 3 are untouchable.
Right. Ethan Salas, you can't trade. There's nobody out there that's going to make this team better. They need too much to give up a guy like Cruz Schoolcraft. Yes. You can't give up a Cash Mayfield, right? You got the Jorge Quintana pickup from the Brewers on the Nestor Cortez thing, which is, probably one of their better he's one of their better position player prospects out there. I mean, these are guys that right now you definitely cannot trade. At this point, I would view the trade deadline as more of the beginning part of the offseason of you're not going to bring back Ty France next year. Whatever you can get out of him, go for it. I think you honestly have to think about Michael King if you could get something for him. But I would still try to maybe take some pieces. if you could get something that you can then flip for somebody that's going to be on the team longer term, I think that's what you need to have. I think you got to start viewing this trade deadline like getting ready for the offseason, where you can still buy, but at least it's guys that's going to be on your team for the next couple of years to try to build into next year. And here's the other thing, too, that I've thought about. Let's just say we go down the path of what, again, the extreme side of things on social media, where you got to fire everybody, sell everybody. You got a new ownership group coming in, Frank, right?
Mm-hmm.
They haven't been confirmed yet. I mean, at this point, if the season is over anyway,
there's nothing that they're going to do anyway.
Hang on. If the season's over anyway, like everybody else has said, okay? And this is the last hurrah. You've already let AJ Preller go as long as you have as the general manager. Why not just be like, you can't trade Solid, Schoolcraft, and Mayfield. This is your last chance. And at the end of the year, you could do everything that you want to do. And then guess what? At the end of the year, the new ownership takes over. They can put in anything that they want to put in. You start fresh going in the offseason and see what the new ownership group could do with the money that they say they have, with the potential spending that they have. I mean, at that point, what's the difference? What's the difference if you trade Mason Miller right now compared to when you trade him in the offseason? You're probably going to get slightly more in the offseason than you are in the regular season. But at that point, just let them play it out, and then you can reset during the offseason. It's not changing, right? If we think that's the deal. So, out of the margins. I mean, there's nobody out there, even if this team was legit, that Ethan Salas is worth trading for. There's nobody out there. I mean, the market's already kind of weird anyway, because there's so many American League teams that are bad, that are in the race, that you're not giving up some of these guys. If you want to flip somebody like Long Hung Soo is your 16th best prospect for maybe a major league bat, go for it. You can do that. I mean, the Padres gave up David Bednar, I think, in the Musgrove trade.
Yeah.
Was it with him and Tucupita Marcano?
I believe so.
I mean, David Bednar was the 30th best prospect in the Padres organization at that time. You could flip some of those guys for decent players. Go ahead and do that. I mean, as long as you keep your top end, which, by the way, what have we been saying all week for 2 days? Most teams don't trade away their top prospects. You could go along with this. The Padres do on blockbuster moves, but guess what? They're not in the market for blockbuster moves.
There were Marcano was not in that trade. It was Musgrove, Bednar, Hudson Head, Omar Cruz, and Drake Fellows going to the Pirates from the Padres. The Mets were in on this deal too.
Joey Lucchesi.
Andy Rodriguez went to the Pirates from the Mets, and the Mets got Joey Lucchesi.
I mean, the Padres got no hitter out of that. Yeah, who? Nate Taylor in the YouTube chat. Who? Love that bit from Bruce Bochy growing up. I'm sorry, who?
Have you seen Line 4?
Yeah, we're going to get to that in a second. Let's get out to, because some of these people have been waiting on hold. Let's get out to Benoit on Oceanside. You're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Benoit?
Hey, thanks for taking my call on my birthday, my 40th birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. Well, and I'm from Louisiana. I am a transplant here for the last 7 years, and I've loved the Padres ever since. And I will tell you, for me, that makes it is having exciting players. So kind of what you were saying is that if you release, trade Miller, who's bringing excitement, are you going to bring that level of excitement in? I guess that's what I would think. I don't know. That's my idea. If you let him play out through the year, like you said, and then wait for the off season to try and get that same level of excitement to come in. At least that's how I see it. I'm not the best at any of this, but I mean, I don't know if you think the same way. I mean, because that's what brings everybody in to make it excitement. And if you trade him too early and he's not exciting anymore, there's nothing left.
I can see that. I mean, I appreciate the phone call, Benoit. I agree with Adam in the chat. You know what's exciting? Winning. More interested in winning. All right. Let's see if we can go on a winning streak by getting Max on the phone. I told him to get on the phone. He called. Big round of applause to Max in Boston. You know what? It makes a lot of sense now. Max in Boston is on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Max?
Hey, what's up, fellas? You guys hear me okay?
I got you, big dog.
Wonderful. Okay, so Braden, a few minutes ago, came back on after the break explaining what your strategy would be, right? You said Salas, Schoolcraft, and Mayfield, those three off limits, right? Okay, well, then you jumped into, I think we should buy at the margins at the deadline for some MLB talent that'll be on the roster for a couple of years. Well, that begs the question, who do you plan on trading? Frank asked me for some specific trade proposals. And again, as a guy with a life, I'm not exactly poring over baseball prospectus on a daily basis. That's not really something that your average fan is going to do. That's
Hang on a second. Hang on. I'm going to put you on hold, dog. It's my show. When I say hang on. You're going to talk louder like it's going to be a difference. I do have to say, did you hear him chime in with a guy with a life? As he just obliterates a YouTube chat here in the post. Come on, man. A guy with a life and you're just chatting away on YouTube? You think I was going to let that slide? You think I was going to let that slide? Do we got a trade proposal? I mean, in terms of guys I would give up, anybody really between 10 and 30, I think is worth trading. If you want to get somebody off the market. I mean, do I want to trade Tucker Musgrove? Not really, but you know what? He's a bullpen guy. So I think it's fair enough to trade him for another major league player. If you can turn Braden Carpathios into a starting pitcher, I think you should. But as of right now, the can't miss prospect is Ethan Salas. Everybody says that. You've invested too much time to not have him part of your team. On top of that, this team needs starting pitching in a bad way. Your top two starting pitching prospects are Cruz Schoolcraft and Cash Mayfield. Outside of that, your guess is as good as mine when it comes to whether or not any of these guys are going to pan out to anything. Because most farm systems cater to about 2 to 3 players that they think are going to turn into Major League Baseball players.
Take me off hold. Let me discuss, brother.
You're not on hold.
Yeah, you haven't been on hold for the last minute and a half now.
Go ahead.
Perfect. Okay. So if you just said those three are untouchable, and again, trade at the margins, well, be realistic then. Name the trades. You asked me to name some trades, Frank. Name the trades. I'm simply coming at it from a overall strategic point of view here. You have to sell. Is this team going to win in 2026? Because ultimately, the goal is a World Series ring. I think all three of us can agree on that, right? The goal is a ring. You got to care about October. 2026 October, I don't see that being a realistic thing. I don't see it being realistic next year either. Quite frankly, 2028, less than realistic as well. So what are you keeping Mason Miller around for? Riding the pine in the bullpen? What's the value there? I genuinely would like to know. Again, you've mentioned a few times what the value of a known quantity is. What's the value of having him ride the pine? Why would you have a spectacular closer doing absolutely nothing for you other than keeping his arm warm once a week? It makes no sense. So if you think that the move is to keep Miller, okay, well, what gets better next year? The year after that? Genuinely, what gets better?
Well, you go through an entire offseason, Max. I mean, what do you mean what gets better? I mean, the fact that you say if you just keep Mason Miller, your team's going to suck doesn't make any sense, dude. It doesn't make any sense.
Okay, so explain how they won't suck next year, Braden.
How they won't
suck?
Why
do you think they're a good team next year? Yes. Why will the 2027 Padres be much better than the 2026 Padres? Because they need to get much better.
Yeah, they could go out there and sign free agents. They can also make trades during the offseason. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you could do, Max. By the way, as you try to counter everything back to me, you have yet to say what you would get for Mason Miller. What would you get for Mason Miller?
Multiple prospects.
Like what, Max? What are you getting, Max? What are you getting, dude? I'd love to know. I would love to know.
Run down to Park Boulevard and ask AJ Preller which prospects he's got circled and what his plans are for 3 years from now. That's ridiculous. You are the sports host.
I'm asking you.
You're the one sitting here saying the Padres are going to get better magically next year. Why would you not trade Miller when his value's in size? Oh, and by the way, you also said his value will be better in the offseason. Have you ever watched baseball before? Are you not aware that teams want guys for more October runs?
Here it is.
Not less.
Max.
Seriously, I mean,
Max. Listen to me.
What a joke.
Listen to me, dude. Give me what you would want in the trade, what you would want the players to turn into.
You don't have to give me names. Like, what would you want?
Into? What do you mean?
What if you trade?
What?
If you could just let me speak on my show. If you made the trade to trade Mason Miller, if you could make the trade to trade Mason Miller, what would you want back in terms of prospects? How many? And what would you want those prospects to turn into? Like what? An
talent,
all-star,
Braden.
perennial, everyday player?
Young
Go
talent.
ahead, tell me.
It doesn't. Quite frankly, it doesn't matter. One all-star, two everyday starters, one all-star, one guy on the margins, one guy's an everyday guy. It doesn't matter. The point is, you get talent for relevant years. That's the point. I also asked you at the start of my call to tell me what margin trades you're planning on making, where you keep Salas, Schoolcraft, and Mayfield.
You
and
could
you
trade
get
for
multiple year MLB starters. You're the guy with the sports talk show.
You could trade for
Go.
Mickey Moniak. You could trade for Lane Thomas.
You could. These are guys that are young and controllable.
For Miller. So propose the trade. Tell me exactly
Not
what
for
you see.
Miller.
Not for Miller. Are you paying attention, dude?
So that's what I'm saying. So tell me what trade you see. What you're asking for trades. I'm the guy just said to work here. You're the guy with the sports talk show and the link to the team. Tell me the trades you're going to make for which minor leaguers. Come on.
I would make some marginal trades to try to add some starting pitching that's out there that you have control over. That's what I would do.
You could trade two.
Okay, so who are you trading for?
I don't know why you didn't answer my question of what do you want these players to turn into for Mason Miller? If you traded for 5 players for Mason Miller.
I told you. I did answer. I answered your question.
No, you didn't. You said who cares? You said who cares? You said who cares? It doesn't matter. You just want You just want quantity back.
Why would it matter
quantity
if you have
back.
a superstar talent, if he's a shortstop, or if he's a catcher or a starting pitcher? Why would it matter? The point is he's ready in 2029, 2030, whatever it might be, when we could actually be competitive. Why are you asking for a specific name?
What a crazy phone caller. It just was talking in circles. The guy just wanted to argue for like literally no reason. I mean, hilarious.
Like you can trade. Fine, you want to trade here? I'll throw a name out there. Trade Garrett Hawkins and let's say Lamar King, who's a catcher, first baseman. Send him to Kansas City for Lane Thomas.
I'd take Lane Thomas.
Send 2 guys, send 2, maybe 3 guys in between 10 and 25 to Colorado for Mickey Moniak.
I let Max speak because he did exactly what I thought he would do. He would sit there. He just sits there and just keeps making up arguments of like, you got to trade Mason Miller to get this amount of people back. Well, who are they? Like, what happens if those guys aren't good and you just got 5 young players? Then you don't have anybody. Then you don't have anybody in your bullpen. He's such a valuable asset to have. You can't just trade him because everybody says in baseball, we have to sell if we're not having a great year. You can only sell when you have things to sell.
Lane Thomas World Series, here we come. That's not what we're saying. We're not saying Lane Thomas is going to be the guy who makes it. It's a fringe move that at least gets you somewhat back to a competitive status. No, this team is not going to win a World Series this year. It's not going to win a World Series with Lane Thomas. It plugs some holes temporarily to get you to the end of the season.
That's it. You could still trade him during the offseason.
Bogarts and Cronenworth with Xander.
Bogarts and Cronenworth with Miller.
Yeah, Bogarts and Cronenworth and Miller.
Why does that guy listen every day in Boston? We haven't seen that guy before once. That guy's in the post-game show chat all the time.
He's called the show. He's called before because we had his name. We had his name here saved.
That's true. We'll get back to your phone call. Susie, Brandon, we'll get to you when we come back. Braden Surprenant Show, standing us over in Sports Station 97.3 The Fan. Was Sunday the greatest day of the 2026 World Cup? It might have been. England survived Mexico 3-2 in an instant classic at Mexico City Stadium after playing nearly an entire half with just 10 men. Brazil, they're going home after Norway stunned the 5-time champions behind 2 Erling Haaland goals. Now Haaland joins Lionel Messi and Kylian Mbappe with 7 goals each, creating one of the greatest golden boot races we've ever seen. But the biggest story off the field, FIFA's controversial decision to overturn Boligan's suspension just before the United States round of 16 match. Critics say it favors the host nation, while supporters argue the U.S. players did nothing wrong. One thing is certain, the soccer has been phenomenal. The drama is off the charts, and this World Cup just reached another level. Biggest day of the tournament. If there was one day that defined the 2026 FIFA World Cup so far, Sunday might have been it. We saw Brazil eliminated earlier than anyone expected, and we saw a thriller between England and Mexico. I will say this, Frank, you mentioned this on the show. Even though Brazil got shocked there by Norway, they weren't really playing up to what we've seen Brazil play over the last handful of World Cups.
No, and Neymar's announced his retirement from international play. Cristiano Ronaldo's expected now to do the same as we record here on Monday after Portugal's loss to Spain today. But other than that, I mean, Brazil is still a world powerhouse. Absolutely. They are starting to get a little bit older, and the young guys, it's kind of like the U.S. in the Qatar World Cup in 2022, where the young guys really aren't there yet to be able to help, and the old guys are just a little too old right now. So they are definitely out of their window. They're still very, very good, but Brazil this has not seemed like that world powerhouse that we've come to expect out of Brazil. Is just the two generations, the coming and going, just haven't melded together at the same time in order for them to really be considered dangerous. It was definitely an upset for sure. Norway was not expected to beat a team like Brazil, but with the way Brazil has played throughout this World Cup, I wouldn't call it a surprising result by any means.
England 3-2 victory over Mexico instantly became one of the greatest matches of the tournament. They're playing inside historic Mexico City Stadium, or Estadio Azteca, in front of more than 80,000 passionate Mexican supporters. England built a lead before having to survive nearly an entire half with just 10 men after a red card. Mexico threw everything at them, cross after cross, chance after chance, but England held on behind outstanding performances from Jude Bellingham, Harry Kane, and goalkeeper Jordan Pickford. Jordan Pickford was outstanding last night against Mexico. And the match had everything: 5 goals, 2 penalties, a red card, bench confrontations, incredible saves, massive momentum swings, one unforgettable atmosphere. This is why people love the World Cup.
Yeah, and also the drama that you had between Argentina and Cape Verde as well. Cape Verde and Argentina go into extra time, tied 1-1. Argentina gets a goal in the first 2 minutes of extra time. Just before you go into the extra time, halftime, Cape Verde scores again to tie the game up, and then it's an own goal. Of all the things, it's an own goal that knocks Cape Verde out. Would have been very, very interesting to see what would have happened, especially the fallout, if Argentina were to have lost that match in penalties. So this last week, we saw 2 unbelievable matches in this World Cup.
Teams are chasing the trophy, but another incredible storyline is unfolding. The Golden Boot race may become the greatest we've ever seen. Haaland, Messi, Mbappe, all tied with 7 goals. Normally 6 goals is enough to win the award. This year, 7 goals isn't even leading outright, with multiple matches still remaining for each superstar. History is within reach. How do you see this one playing out?
It's going to come down to whoever lasts longest, really. It's kind of hard to score goals after your nation's already eliminated. It's really impressive, the stars and how the star power has come out in this World Cup. Erling Haaland has done exactly what he's done with Manchester City for all these years. Lionel Messi is just continuing to look like he's still 24. And Kylian Mbappe has been unbelievable. He's one of the next great star in the world of soccer. Really, it's going to come down to whoever lasts longer in this tournament. If Norway continues on and France gets knocked out and Argentina gets knocked out, then it's Holland's to lose. If all of it stays, I think Messi still ends up with it, because Messi has been the main proprietor for all of Argentina's goals in this World Cup, while Haaland and Mbappe have had help. So I would still think if Argentina
That was amazing. One guy's like, I expected more out of you. More what? I mean, I couldn't talk unless I put the guy on hold. As soon as you started talking, it was just like, he's just going off. What would you trade for? The reality is there's really not too much out there off the top of my head anyway. That's not at least a 1-year deal. Like I immediately thought of like Sonny Gray, but he's only got a 1-year deal. You'd be paying for a rental. This team can't trade for a rental.
Oh, and Sonny Gray is not going to help you.
No.
Is not going to help with how much you need. He's a good enough. He definitely would help you if you were like a piece or two away.
What's like? How many years does Joe Ryan have? No, he's got a mutual option too. Rentals.
Yeah, Joe Ryan's. I mean,
you can't trade for rentals.
Like Lance McCullers is a unrestricted free agent next year. So is Bubik. They're both coming off of injuries.
Yeah, they're coming off of injuries.
Yeah, so I mean, those are guys you don't even trust.
Royce Lewis coming off of massive injuries all the time, hasn't had that great of a year. I mean, if you traded for like a Mickey Moniak, as you mentioned, again, you only get like a year, but you would have to find players that are guys that you could pick up at the offseason if you wanted to add on the margins. Or here's the other thing too. If the Padres pull within a couple of games of the wild card, that to me is when you would like add a couple of guys at the margins, like a Sonny Gray. I think he's going to cost too much for this team. Like a Mickey Moniak, I'd trade for Luis Arise at the trade deadline if you're like 2 games out, 3 games out from a wild card spot. He's not going to cost you a lot. He's on an expiring contract. That's when you can get to the expiring contract ones. Is that enough to make a World Series run? No. But I do think there's something to be said about making the playoffs over not making the playoffs. But I think, Frank, as we have talked about, we're in agreement.
Is Josh Bell available?
Adam Frazier might be available. If you get to the playoffs, I think it's more beneficial to not making the playoffs. But as we agree, this team is not in a position to make a blockbuster deal, which is what we've talked about before.
No.
And I would rather keep Mason Miller because I don't believe this team's going to be lousy for the next 2 or 3 years. I think that's emotion more than logic.
Correct. Yeah, no, this team is not good enough to win this year. Last year could have potentially had a run. Now, listen, I'm still a very firm believer, and I am a subscriber to the logic that if you at least get into the dance, anything can happen. You saw it today. Egypt nearly stunned the world, beating Argentina. That can't happen if you're not at least there. So I'm still very much of that belief of anything can happen if you're there. But looking at it realistically, no, this team does not have a chance to win a World Series with the team that they have constructed right now, or with a team that is like one or two, or a team that's 1 or 2 pieces away. This is a team that needs to really look into itself and see where they can find value. And you're not going to be able to do that right now. You can get an early start to the offseason. Just go on, play as you are, get value for a couple of guys here and there. I think Morahone is probably one of the more valuable pieces that this team could give up right now and actually get something decent in return that could be near major league talent. But other than that, you need to view this as like the beginning of your offseason, really, and figure out the best way and figure out your plan of attack, knowing who's going to be a free agent. Start reaching out and saying, hey, we're not looking to trade right now, but would X, whoever would, just to throw out a name, I know this is not going to happen, but would Jose Ramirez be available in the offseason? Just throw out a name. Or Stephen Kwan. Would Stephen Kwan be available in the offseason? Not right now. See if you could start laying little eggs and start planting little seeds to get a head start going into this offseason, so you have a plan to be ready to figure out how to build around the core that you have, because you can't get rid of it going into the offseason, to be ready for next year. That's what I would be doing right now.
Yeah, that would be my strategy. You have to go into this trade deadline with the option of, can we take, but the other thing too, like maybe you can flip some of these, expiring contracts into prospects that you can then flip for major league talent. You could do a little bit of buy and sell, which is, I think, where they would have to be. But you can't trade for a rental. And right now, because the market is what the market is, with all these teams still thinking they're in the race, you are going to have a lot of buyers trading with buyers. And you're not going, there's not a lot of just options out there that are available to improve your team, because of the fact that a lot of teams still don't even know if they're in or not. They're in a tough spot because it's not as simple as just trading Mason Miller away and hoping for the best. That's like, because that was the other thing too. I think I saw it in the YouTube chat. They're like, because somebody asked, what are you getting for Mason Miller? Hoping for a bat. Like, you're hoping. It's hope. I mean, you look at it always from the best case scenario standpoint. What is worst case scenario about what's the worst case scenario of the Mason Miller trade?
You just you get nothing out of it. Every prospect that you get turns into a dud. That's worst case scenario.
So if you go worst,
you get a bunch of Robert Hassels.
So let me ask you this: when you make a trade and evaluate for a trade, you have to think of the worst case scenario, and is it more beneficial to not make the trade or make the trade based on the worst case scenario? Like with the Juan Soto deal. Okay, what was the worst case scenario on the Juan Soto deal as you tried to make a run at the postseason in 2022? Worst case scenario would have been Juan Soto immediately turns to crap, which the odds of that happening were very slim. Mm-hmm. And then CJ Abrams and James Wood and Robert Hassel all turned into players equivalent or better than Juan Soto that you could have had if you just waited. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That would be the worst case scenario. In this particular case, if you trade Mason Miller, who everybody knows is the best closer in baseball, for prospects, and let's mention the Yankees, because the Yankees are the team that everybody says should go get Mason Miller, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to their top prospects. If the Yankees are willing to give you George Lombard Jr., who is their number one prospect, and they're willing to give you the deal that you gave Juan Soto, right? That you gave for Juan Soto. If you're willing to do that deal, you get George Lombard Jr., you get Elmar Rodriguez, you get Carlos LaGrange, you get Spencer Jones, and you get Kyle Carr. Worst case scenario there. None of them work out. And it doesn't work. And then all of a sudden it's like, all right, well, we don't have a closer now, and we tried our best with it. You know what the worst case scenario is? What the Red Sox got for Mookie Betts. I would still rather go with the players I know more than the players I don't. And I think the good point that Max brought up was teams that are very, very bad can't afford to have a closer on their team because there's no reason to have them. But unless you're getting something back that's going to replenish your roster and attribute to 2 or 3 starters in your lineup, it's better at this point in time for this Padres team to employ Mason Miller than it is to hope that they get 2 guys out of a 5-person trade, if they even get that much, to turn into players in the long term. Now, here's the other difference too, because what he said was legit. It's correct. But the other difference is this is not the 2013 Padres that didn't have any expectations. This is the 2026 Padres that had expectations and still have a core group of players. You know, everybody wants to sign off on, write them off because of the fact that it's a bad year. And what the fear is these guys are going to continue to decline massively like they did this year. If that's the case, that's the most unlucky signings you have ever gotten, where everybody you sign massively declines at age 33. That's almost impossible for people of the trajectory that Manny Machado and Xander Bogaerts were on. Manny Machado being considered a future Hall of Famer. For him to just completely fall off a cliff at age 33 would be honestly incredibly unlucky.
If I were to do a Mason Miller trade this year, I wouldn't be able to do it because the team I would trade him to is not in contention. And that's the Minnesota Twins. Just looking at it right now, I would trade Mason Miller for Walker Jenkins and possibly a CJ Culpepper, who's their 20th ranked prospect as a starter. That is what I would do.
Why?
Because you get controllable pitching and you get a controllable bat. That's why I am a big believer in Walker Jenkins, and I also want a starter who doesn't have a lot of potential, who doesn't have a ridiculous amount of expectation and potential. That would be CJ Culpepper. So I would get there's my left fielder for the future and potentially a starter that I can rely on. Potentially.
Max in the YouTube chat has given you two scenarios. Scenario A, keep Miller, don't win a championship. Or scenario B, trade Miller, roll the dice on pieces you get back, contributing to a ring someday. I'll take B every time. Well, yeah, you will take the option that guarantees you a chance to win a World Series. But that's not how this works. It's option A, you keep Mason Miller and you don't win a World Series. Or option B, trade Mason Miller, roll the dice on pieces you get back, and also don't win a World Series because it's not a guarantee. If both scenarios don't lead to a World Series, I will take Mason Miller because I know what I'm getting out of Mason Miller over the roll of the dice. You can't have the options be one thing wins a World Series, one thing doesn't, when there's no guarantee and no direct plan to winning a World Series because every team would be doing it. Didn't we have that scenario a couple of weeks ago?
Mm-hmm.
The difference between the Brewers and the Padres. You can have a team that's full of big contract guys, big name guys, what you know, that doesn't win a World Series. Or you can have a team like the Brewers who lets guys walk. They're young, they're talented, right? But they don't make the big move at the deadline to get over the top. Both lead to not getting a World Series. I would rather take the Stars in that case. I would. Neither of them guarantees you a World Series. Neither of them does. Neither of them guarantees you a chance. You just kind of hope for the best. I think a lot of people, and I'm glad that Max called in because I'm using him as an example. I think a lot of people always view the grass is always greener on the other side. We must be doing the exact opposite of what we're doing. And again, as I mentioned before, I don't think they should continue to hand out massive contracts and trade their top prospects. But I do think you can't just go a full reversal one season that doesn't go your way. It's not going to lead to optimism, and it's not going to lead to what you think it's going to lead to just because you see other teams doing a different kind of plan. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We'll get to Susie, Clay, Brandon when we come back. I know you had you guys on hold for a long time. We'll get to that when we come back.
One victory lane, climbing out of the truck. Make some noise one more time for your race winner of the Navy 250, Wayne Riggs.
12:45 on a Tuesday. Fun-filled day. We got to get to the phone calls, though. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. I'm so sorry, Susie, for having you wait on hold for as long as you did. Susie in Kensington, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on?
Hi, Braden. So first of all, Max from Boston, if you want to solve our problems, we'd be happy to give you back Xander Bogaerts. That would free up a little bit of money. But anyway, what I wanted to say, Braden, is, and Frank, I love you guys together. I wanted to tell you that. We're dealing with the downside of the Peter Seidler legacy. He brought us so much excitement. I loved him. Nobody complained about these big signings when they happened. But now, everybody was saying before he got in, oh, you come to San Diego, you get good, they trade him. So he did the opposite and signed people to long-term contracts. And now we're dealing with it, which is unfortunate. And I loved him. I'm not saying anything bad about Peter, but this is the downside. We should have won in 2024. We didn't. And I don't think that Manny Machado is going to fall off a cliff every year. He's Manny Machado. The guy's an amazing player. He's having a hard year so far. But I just don't want to go back to the ballpark experience, Braden. We've had a taste of just so much excitement and great baseball. But, we have a different ownership team. I'm hoping it's coming in and they're going to do something about this. But right now, I just don't know what to do because there's too many holes in the dike. We have a beleaguered minor league system. We have hitters that aren't hitting. We have pitchers that are injured, and the ones that are decent aren't producing. And I don't know what to do. And I'm hoping that the organization is not going to do something in the trade deadline that's going to give the illusion that we're still in it. We may be. This is not a World Series caliber team, but I don't know what to do from here. I don't know where to go to build this so that it doesn't take 5 years. I love more of your guys' input because I don't know, because prospects don't guarantee us anything.
They don't, and that's the whole point of that last exercise. Like this past hour, it's like I would love to be able to get a starting pitcher out of a Mason Miller trade, but you're just kind of hoping for the best. And at this point where this team's at, even though I think a lot of people are just super negative about the way that they've been playing, and they should be, because it's not very good. They're not very good. But all I'm going to say is be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for. Because I think a lot of people have forgotten some of the very, very dark years of Padres baseball and what this could potentially turn into if you start just trading guys away because bad teams are supposed to sell at the deadline. You sell when you got stuff to sell. The more I think about it, Frank, the more I sit here and go, they should probably stand pat at the end of the year and reevaluate with the new ownership group during the offseason.
100%.
Instead of emotionally trying to save everything when you need to just reevaluate what you got. Yep. And there's still a lot of baseball left. I don't think that means they're going to make the playoffs, but we can't sit here and think that they are not working on this every single day. From the front office perspective, from the clubhouse perspective. I mean, I have said, not really on air, but like there's been a lot of things that Craig Stammen has said where I'm like scratching my head a little bit of like, okay, I don't know if that's the right approach. But I'll tell you what, I know they're working on trying to fix this thing. But what you can't do is emotionally make decisions. I think a lot of people are going down that path. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get out to Derek in La Mesa. Derek, it's been a long time.
Man, how the heck are you? It's getting a little toasty in the East County, but it's still another glorious day in San Diego. Hey, Frank, a thought occurred to me. since I haven't had an opportunity with my boy being on the IL. But you and I being such great friends, right, and both agreeing that Arson Fudge is the greatest baseball player in the big leagues right now, I thought, well, and also the fact that Italy didn't even bother to make the World Cup.
Foul.
And the U.S. is eliminated. I said, Frank and I are such good friends. I should invite him on board to my Heritage's people. And why don't you just come row the Viking boat with Erling Haaland and Norway, Frankie? What do you think?
They're on a very impressive streak. They are on a very impressive run. I will give them that. I don't think they're going to, I think this might be the end of the road, but they've been very, very impressive.
Yeah, you got to come row the Viking ship. No, I agree. I've watched almost every minute of the Cup, and let's be honest, even though Messi got a scare today, when you watch France and Argentina play and Spain, pretty scary. But Frank, it's been a long time. I know you missed me, so I thought, man, I have to extend the oar and invite you aboard the Viking ship, brother. So give it a thought, and let's go Norway.
I'll grab onto the oar. That's one I won't have a problem with.
Let's go Norway. I love it, Derek. You know what? We're getting Derek to branch out a little bit, man. It's great. We miss Derek. That's the worst part about Aaron Judge getting hurt. The worst part about Aaron Judge getting hurt, we don't get Derek phone calls anymore.
Other than a guy getting hurt, but
Let's get to Brandon and El Cajon. Brandon El Cajon, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on?
Hey, how you guys doing today? Boy, you got a rough job right now talking about the Padres.
Yeah, you know what? It's not as fun as it is when they do very well, Brandon. I will say that.
Yeah. Anyways, I just, I've been watching them for years and years and years. It's time for them to just wear it. They've made so many bad deals that they're half the team's turning into Hosmer. They got to wear it at this point. I would fire AJ Preller and just find somebody to change the direction.
At this point, Brandon, I appreciate the phone call. We talked about it, Frank. I think standing pat's probably the best right now, and just see what you got going into next year. Again, we talked about this multiple times. 833-288-973, 833-288-973. Let's get out to Clay in the South Bay. Clay, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on?
Whoa, I take 8 days. I go to Peru for 8 damn days. Padres go on an 8-game losing streak during that time. I'm gone. Oh, well, it's baseball. But
how was Peru, Clay? That sounds fun.
Huh?
How was Peru? That sounds fun.
Oh, it was great. It was great. It really was. I mean, the elevation at Machu Picchu is quite high. You might starve some of your brain cells for oxygen, but other than that, it's a great place. I enjoyed the visit. But let's get back to the real deal here. First of all, season ain't over. In 2024, the Padres hovered around 500 all the way through to the damn All-Star break. And I believe Covered in Chula Vista was whining about it then. Well, get off and stop. You got to sit pat with what you got. What we got is good enough to get us over the hump. I really do believe that. If we can get some extra additives, hey, that's great, as long as they're reasonable and not illegal. But to rebuild, yesterday Kevin was all about rebuild. Today it's like, well, not a total rebuild. Make up your mind, dude. Windsocking. I'm telling you, I only hear him when he's glooming and dooming. And as far as prospects go, there's not a prospect that's a ready up round to jump right into a position on the field and put up the stats you want. And we don't need a power hitter. We need hitters. The power hitter's only successful when they're hitting the ball out of the damn park. We've seen those people come and go. Come on, let's be for real. And again, $2 billion spent, Kevin, get off it. You didn't spend $2 billion, the Padres did. And you tell me when the last time was that you saw the Padres spend some money. And this legacy of the Padres is the best that we've had. And as far as Max over in Boston whining about trading Miller, hey, we didn't trade Trevor Hoffman in the lean years. And look how many years we had him. And he only went to the playoffs in 96, 98, 05, and 06. So I'm saying you sit with it, you wait for the All-Star break to get over, and let's go and let's win some damn ball games and see you in the playoffs.
Well said, Clay. Clay's fired up back from Peru.
He is.
He's fighting his neighbor, Kevin, down there in South Bay. Kevin in Chula Vista, Clay in the South Bay. We got to get to break, though. I think the music didn't fire up.
Oh,
God
I got it
bless
ready
America.
too.
We'll get to Dustin in San Diego when we come back in the 1 o'clock hour. Again, a lot of talk about whether or not you should trade Mason Miller. I don't think you should. I think you're rolling the dice. You know, this show has the saying, right but too early. Go back. Start seeing all the times we've been right but too early. Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Sports Station 97.3 The Fan.
1 o'clock on a fun Tuesday. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant, the Braden Surprenant Show, Sending Sermon Sports Station 97.3 The Fan. We are broadcasting live at the Bill House Studios. We know how. All of our guests join us on the SDCCU Fan Hotline. It's not Big Bank Banking. It's better. Want to mention to tune in Monday, July 13th at 6 o'clock as Bet365 presents Odyssey Sports Midsummer Baseball Showcase Special from Philadelphia. We'll be on next week. All-Star break. Now, we said this week, Frank, the Padres have to go what in 7 games?
Now it's
well, they still have to go 5-2 in 7 games. So now it's 5-1 in 6 games.
Yeah.
We were breaking down some of the audio from yesterday. We didn't even get to the Manny Machado stuff yet. Maybe we'll get to that next. But like the conversations from the clubhouse and then what they did after those conversations. Oof. Not great, Bob. Not great. Want to get back to your phone calls, 833-288-973, 833-288-973. Let's get out to Dustin in San Diego, who called in during the last segment. Dustin, what's going on, man?
Not much. Always a pleasure to listen to you guys. Yeah, we're kind of in a pickle as a team. Obviously, not the best year. The stats prove it. We are average at best. I agree with you guys on kind of just holding the ship afloat with what we got. I think the Mason Miller idea is a horrible idea. Yeah, you might be able to get some people, in the mix, some prospects, if you will. But, as all the callers and you guys have mentioned, those aren't those aren't grand slams on any of those prospects. I think if you're going to do it, I would prefer to hold on, but you might be able to get something for Morahone. And I would much rather them sign Morahone to a little bit a longer deal, 3, 4, 5-year deal. He's going to get paid, obviously. What's this ownership willing to do? If you can package maybe Morahone and Cronenworth, seems like Cronenworth's pretty expendable at this point. You shed a little bit of that salary. The high leverage lefty is, you might be able to get a Tanner Scott type of return. We know that Preller's a guy who will overpay. Is there a team that's willing to overpay for Morahone and maybe packaging Cronenworth? But listen, this is the golden era of the Padres. So, fans that are upset and all that, it's like Seidler had a vision. He put the money there. He might have overpaid for guys. But, this is, we've never been to the playoffs as much as we have. And I've been a Padre fan since the day I was born, 74. The life of heartbreak, and it is what it is. We got nowhere to go. All we got are the goals and the SDFC and the wave, pretty much. So, great job, guys, as always. Just want to get your thoughts on Morahone and maybe Cronenworth. Take care, guys.
Appreciate the phone call, Dustin. You get somebody to take Cronenworth's contract, GM of the year. I don't know with the way he's been playing and how much money he is. You have to pay Jake Cronenworth through 2030. You got the rest of this year, then you got 4 more years. Let's see. World Cup, not. Jake Cronenworth will be on this team in the next World Cup. That's 2030, right?
It would be.
The next World Cup, this team will have Manny. This team will have Xander. This team will have Fernando. This team will have Merrill. This team will have Cronenworth. This team will also have, theoretically, Randy Vasquez, Samad Taylor, and Bradley Rodriguez, but that's neither here nor there. The next World Cup. The World Cup after that is 2034, right? Yeah. You will still have Fernando and Jackson. They'll be in their final year of their contract. 2 World Cups from now.
I don't think this is all that hot a take, honestly. The talent that
you have terrible takes, by the way. That's what everybody told you today.
The talent that this Padres team, it is capable of winning a World Series. Performing at the level they are, no shot. But if you get enough of the guys performing to what they're capable of, You don't need to change this team a whole lot in order to win a World Series.
No.
It's building around them and getting a rotation together that can be able to sustain it. You can win a World Series with Fernando, Manny, Jackson, and Xander. You absolutely can. Performing the way they are this year, there's no shot.
Now, the reason why you wouldn't be able to and why people are freaking out about it is that money prevents them from spending other money on good pitching, right? Which is like the problem. Now, the wild card here, there's a couple wild cards here. One is the CBA next year. Two is the ownership and how much money they're willing to spend. And three is what they do here at the trade deadline. Those are the three biggest factors to this. I really don't believe that this is the beginning of the end for Manny Bogarts on this team. We've already gone through their metrics. Even though they haven't played that well right now, if you go back and look at like Hall of Famers, there's years in which they did not do well in their 30s and years where they bounced back and did well.
The reason why the Padres were projected by Fangraphs to be at 80 and 82 this year is because they had no starting rotation to speak of.
No starting pitching.
It was not because of the roster. This team does have talent on it. It does. Whether you want to believe it or not, based on the way they're playing right now, you cannot, just because it's this year, take out what guys like Manny and Xander have done throughout their entire career. You cannot do that. They were projected to finish at or under 500 because they had absolutely no starting rotation to speak of. The starting rotation overperformed at the beginning of the season for sure. It came to the median, and now it is starting to crumble because of the situations that the offense put themselves in. That put them in. That is why the rotation has gotten even worse than it is now. Is because of that.
Let's talk about Morejon for a second. Morejon is going to command like top dollar next year as a bullpen arm.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see his I have it on the sheet now. It's updated through Saturday. So it doesn't have everything on there. But do you know what his expected ERA is right now? Morejon for his and he hasn't been that great this year, I would say.
Like $1.30, something
it's like
that.
2.53 is his expected ERA. His regular ERA is a 3.45. Fielding independent pitching is a 2.50. He accumulates a 1.4 WAR, which is the second highest on this team in terms of pitching. And with his track record, somebody is going to pay him almost like a closer. Can the Padres afford to pay for a guy like Morejon to be a bullpen guy at this age? No, I don't think so either. This is why Dennis Lin talked about that at the beginning part of the season, where he threw it in one of his pieces of he didn't see Morejon being a fit for the Padres and the Padres being a fit for Morejon moving forward after this year. So, as Dustin mentioned, I would totally trade Adrian Morejon. I think you could get something good out of that. I think, depending on the team, you could probably get a decent prospect out of Morejon. Maybe. Maybe the Yankees could use Adrian Morejon because they need help in the bullpen. That's not going to give them their number one prospect. But you might be able to get a Kyle Carr for him. Might be able to get a Spencer Jones. I mean, at least the Yankees have some guys in AAA. Maybe you might be able to get out of. But
Spencer Jones has played in the major leagues this year. He just doesn't have a spot. To play in because he's a first baseman, and he's got Goldschmidt and Ben Rice in front of him.
I would almost consider that a buy and a buy. Trading Morejon for Spencer Jones. Will the Yankees do that? I don't know, but he's backfilled, right? Morejon, I know he's going to be impending free agent, but like it's not like the Yankees can't sign him to an extension, right?
No, they could. Notable poverty franchise, the New York Yankees, though.
Okay. What else did you have to throw in with that? I don't know. I mean, like, Spencer Jones is like young enough. He's a San Diego guy, so everybody's gonna love that anyway. The kid is gigantic. He's 6'7". He went to La Costa Canyon. He grew up in Encinitas. I mean, he does have a high strikeout rate, obviously, but he was a high draft pick coming out of Vanderbilt. He's 25 years old. Okay, he is right there, ready for the major leagues. When I think more opportunity, it would work out. Yeah, maybe you give him Gavin Sheets too. I mean, Spencer Jones would be theoretically replacing Gavin Sheets, would he not? You would be getting a younger
Or if you trade
player.
Ty France, yeah.
Yeah, maybe you give him Ty France. Do they need Ty France?
The Yankees need to? No.
Probably not.
I mean, as far as if you want to back a corner infielder, sure. But
yeah, probably not.
You don't need a first baseman.
That would be like with how pitching is, though, because everybody talks about how much you can get for pitching, right? That would be something you could get back. He's the 6th best prospect in the organization. Like, you're not going to get George Lombard Jr. You're not going to get their shortstop, Dax Kilby. You're not going to get Elmer Rodriguez or Carlos LaGrange.
Adam, we just threw the Yankees out there because the media always throws the Yankees out there.
Well, they need bullpen help, right?
Yeah, and we didn't pick the Yankees because we want any of their players. We're just using it as an example for the conversation.
There's no way they give up Kyle Carr for him. He's a lefty pitcher. Scranton Wilkes-Barre. He's good, man. Kyle Carr's a stud. 833-288-973. 833-288-973. Let's get out to Richard in Hillcrest. Richard, what's going on?
Hey, guys. How are you today?
Doing well, Richard. Eventful Tuesday.
I'm having a hard time listening to your show, and I'll tell you why. I'm tired of all this trade talk. I've got 2 questions for you guys. Maybe you can answer them for me. One, whose idea was it to hire Stammen with no experience as a manager to be their manager? And 2, when was the last time a rookie manager with no experience managing a major league team made it to the World Series? What did we expect this team to be this year? Did we really think they were going to go to the World Series? I mean, come on.
Well, there's a couple of things here, Richard, that I'll defend Craig Stammen on. I mean, a lot of the things that he has said, I think it's getting to there's some things that he has now been like, the positivity, I get it. I know what he's trying to do. I would personally not go that direction. I mean, with this clubhouse, I don't think he has catastrophically killed this team in terms of decisions. I mean, here's the other thing, too. We've talked about this a lot, Frank. Is there a manager in baseball that is great at bullpen management?
No.
There's not one. So let's just throw all that out the window. And here's my caveat to Rich. And I get it. Like, he doesn't have any experience. But the reality is, if they didn't hire Stammen, who are the other finalists? Do you remember?
Pujols was one of them who would have been a first-time manager.
First-time manager.
In the major leagues, at
right?
least. Ruben Niebla, first-time manager.
Nick Hundley.
Oh, yes, that's right. First-time manager.
First-time manager.
2 catchers. Or 1 catcher, sorry. 1 catcher.
So they all would have been rookie managers. There's no and the reality is, you can always like hypothetically say, oh, it would have been better if Albert Pujols was in charge. Oh, it would have been better if Nick Hundley was in charge. I mean, you can say that because you don't get to see the product on the field. We don't know how he would be handling this situation. We don't know how either of them would, because you don't get to see it. But the other thing too, and the morning show was talking about this, like, there's only so much a manager can do in baseball. Like, it's not like the Padres. It's not like Craig Stammen is working on scheme and dialing up X's and O's on offense and on defense like in football, right? They're not putting in the plays that you see right now in the World Cup in soccer, which, Frank, to tell everybody that doesn't watch soccer, there's a lot of strategy involved In soccer, too.
100%, yes.
Okay? Basketball. In baseball, there's only so much you could do outside of, like, filling out a lineup card. And if you need your manager to get these players to perform at a high level that are getting paid the amount of money they are, that says more about the players than it does say about Craig Stammen, right? I mean, they shouldn't need a rah-rah cheerleader to get them ready to play. They should be able to do that on their own. So, yes, I think it's an easy scapegoat right now. Yes, I think that the way that everybody is playing at such a poor level in their career, like career worst years across the board, I think it's hard not to be like, what's the common denominator here? But at the same time, these players need to be able to perform to a higher level. Oh, and by the way, the rotation that they assembled for Craig Stammen was a big roll of the dice. Speaking of, by the way, Frank, everybody wants to roll the dice on prospects. They've been rolling the dice on reclamation projects. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you get a Gavin Sheets and a Ty France. And sometimes you get Robinson Cano and Rougned Odor and Matt Carpenter. It happens. I would rather, again, this goes back to the Mason Miller thing, I would rather go with what I know than he could be good. He could also suck. We're taking a shot. That's not really a plan, is it? It's not really a plan. Now, here's the other thing, too. And we'll talk more about this because we got to go to break. Like some of the YouTube chat said, well, the Padres gave up XYZ for Tanner Scott. It was a left-hander. It was a rental. Padres make big, bold moves that nobody else makes. Frank, have we seen anybody else match the Padres' big, bold moves?
Nope.
We have not. We have not. So to think that somebody's going to replenish that for the Padres, who go a little bit above and beyond to go get the player that they want. That's what A.J. Preller does. I think you're sadly mistaken. 833-288-973, 833-288-973. Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Sports Station 97 through the Fan.
Honey?
We are less than a month away from the MLB trade deadline, and this year feels different because there are almost no true sellers. That means contenders are going to have to trade with contenders, and that always drives the price way up. Teams like the Braves, Cubs, Orioles are all hunting frontline pitching. Names like Joe Ryan, Freddie Peralta, Sonny Gray, even Tarek Skubal are floating around the market, but here's the catch. There may not be enough arms to go around. The Padres are right in the middle of it again, tied to big names like Skubal and Ryan, but more realistically, looking at Peralta or Gray as their best path. And the big question heading into August 3rd is simple. Which contender blinks first and overpays to win the deadline? Because this year, the middle class of MLB might decide everything. Now, less than a month away from the August 3rd MLB trade deadline. I think a lot of Padres fans are interested in this about a month ago. I don't know how many Padres fans are as interested in this now after the week that they had.
Yeah, no, it's a week that definitely set the Padres' plans back a little bit. But other than that, I mean, it's still very, very interesting here to say the least.
Let's talk about the contenders and strategy shifts. In the National League East, the Braves are hunting for a Game 2 starter type, someone like Joe Ryan or Freddie Peralta, but that kind of move won't come cheap. Phillies are scrambling after injuries and looking at corner outfield and first base help with names like Joe Adell and Jaron Duran in the mix. Marlins, quietly interesting here too, willing to deal pitching for offense with Royce Lewis as a real swing piece target for the Marlins. And in Washington, bullpen help is the priority, and they'll have options everywhere.
And then there's the Mets.
And then there's the Mets.
They're trending towards a soft sell, especially when they can't stabilize their pitching stock. That means that's a team that could quietly shape the deadline if they decide to fully pivot. And I saw a report earlier today coming from Mike Francesa, so take that for what it's worth, that the Mets are actively shopping Francisco Lindor. So that could accelerate this, turn this from a soft sell to a hard sell.
I saw some rumors about the Padres and Lindor, or Padres and Mets swapping big contracts. But if you're the Padres, isn't Lindor's making more than everybody on your team anyway? I don't know how much more of a
benefit it would be potentially.
Yeah, also
but it could be a change of scenery.
Also, a reminder that Francisco Lindor looked at Fernando Tatis Jr.'s contract and said, "1 more million."
Yeah,
please."
that's right.
Literally, an million more.
Well, you know what? His contract is a little bit more favorable than a lot of the other ones that the Padres have. But just a quick look. I have to remind myself every time I look at this for a contract swap. You know, Francisco Lindor is making $34.1 million every year until 2032. So if you were to swap that out, you would actually be taking on an additional $9 million in payroll if you did the Xander Bogaerts Lindor trade. And Bogaerts is only 2 years older than Lindor. And so it's not really helping you out. The only one that would make sense is if you swapped Machado and Lindor if you're looking for a contract swap. But even that doesn't make too much sense for either the Mets nor the Padres. So we'll see what happens with Francisco Lindor. Moving on the list to the National League Central and wild card situation. Brewers in a position of strength. They may just need bullpen depth. Milwaukee, more fine-tuning than rebuilding. Cardinals, one of the biggest surprises in baseball, are looking for pitching help, possibly getting Sonny Gray back or going after Robbie Ray. Cubs, though, they are the aggressive team here. They've made it clear they want frontline pitching. Their entire rotation is beat up. Meanwhile, the Reds look like a team that should be selling rather than adding, which is always tough when you're trying to stay relevant in a tight division.
And then there's the Pirates who aren't even on this list. So it's the NL Central is going to be very, very interesting. The Cubs have already made a trade. They acquired David Peterson after destroying the Mets. Peterson allowed 1 run in Milwaukee and then gave up 10 in his last outing. So you never know what you're going to get with these pitchers. So the Cubs clearly have not found their answer in David Peterson. So guys like Sonny Gray, Robbie Ray out of San Francisco, those are guys I could definitely see moving into the National League Central Division.
National League West, Padres watch. Dodgers are an interesting spot. Obviously, they don't need to make a big move, but history tells you that they always stay involved at the top of the market. Giants are going to sell, most likely. They're floating out the names like Robbie Ray and Luis Arraez. And then there's the Padres. Padres, once again, tied to biggest names in the sport, Skubal, Joe Ryan, but realistically, probably more in the Freddie Peralta, Sonny Gray, Robbie Ray category. And that's, of course, after
depending on what they do this
depending
week,
on
really.
what they do this week on the field. We didn't get to our I've done that before many of times. We didn't get to our midday sports standoff, but if we did, and you took me down in sports trivia, you'd be qualified for a chance to win our grand prize, a 2-night stay at Fontainebleau, Las Vegas, and a $150 food and beverage credit. Oasis Pool Deck at Fontainebleau, Las Vegas is officially open for the season, offering a 6-acre elevated pool experience with 6 distinct pools and live beach. Enter to win a 2-night stay at Fontainebleau, Las Vegas, and a $150 food and beverage credit. To book your stay, visit FontainebleauLasVegas.com now. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Padres have officially recalled Johnny Brito from El Paso and have optioned Alec Jacob back to the minors.
Which makes sense. Throw his arm off last night and then send him back.
Right, that's how you do it. All of our guests join us in the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not Big Bang Banking. It's better. Let's get out to the phones. Vince in Chula Vista. You're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Vince?
Hey, Braden. Hey, boys. Hope you're doing well. Thank you, as always, for letting me come in. So, to me, this is what it ain't sustainable looked like. That's what we were talking about in May and the beginning part of June with the success that they were having. It was kind of, when you're looking at it, it could not be sustained. And when it finally started to crash and come down, to me, again, this is kind of what it looks like. And so big and bold moves, I got to get a definition of what that actually is, because when you're chasing the Marlins for a wild card spot, I don't know if anything big or bold is going to be coming this trade deadline. Now, that could all be that it could all be conjecture there, because the new ownership group, I'm sure that's going to be approved in the next couple of weeks, and I don't know if there's an injection of money that comes in here, because this game it is all about money. What the Cubs are doing, what the Dodgers are doing, any top tier team that the Padres are hoping to be. And I kind of think the window may be cracked a little bit, but it is surely on the down slope closing. And this is all about money. If they're going to compete at that level and go get the players that you need to have to compete at that level, you can't do it with a patchwork pitching staff. You just can't do it. And so it's going to be interesting. I'd like to see if we're going to be buyers or sellers at the trade deadline. I can make an argument that we could be one of either, and there's a strong argument that they could be sellers. So anyway, this is what it ain't sustainable looks like. And baseball is so great, right? You could have a great run over a few weeks in May, a great run over a few weeks in June, but over the lifetime, it always catches up with you. And I think that's what's happening here. Braden, you guys got the best thing going. Thank you so much again for allowing me to kind of chip in a little bit. I appreciate you. Have a great rest of your day.
Appreciate that, Vince. Yeah, I just sometimes, Frank, I just feel like we just speak in general terms from a fan perspective of buy and sell at the deadline without really having a plan of like what you would buy nor sell for.
Mm-hmm.
So like the sellers at the deadline to me would be, I'll say this because I was going to get to this earlier and I didn't. If this was like the last 2 or 3 years of Manny Machado and Xander Bogaerts, think about eating the money to send them away. I think you would. But the fact that they have so many more years of control, you have to play out the good years of those contracts. So we talk about this all the time when it comes to Manny and Xander, what you signed up for, right? What the Padres signed up for when they signed those deals. I mean, they signed Xander for the 2023 through 2033 seasons. That's 11 seasons. He played 23, 24, 25. This is year 4. You can't sign an 11-year deal and quit after 4 years on the player. You just can't. You have to let this thing play out with that contract. And the other thing you cannot do is you cannot use the past and try to fix the past with your moves. Like, you can't let the past dictate what you do now. You have to think about it in right now terms. And the plan was, obviously, when they signed Xander Bogaerts, which may or may not have been a good idea at the time, you were committed to, I would say, at least 8 years of that contract. The last 3 were just, that's what I have to do in order to make it more affordable for myself because I have to pay Xander Bogaerts $280 million to get him on the team. The Padres in 2022, going into the offseason, wanted Xander Bogaerts or one of the top 4 shortstops. They offered Trey Turner. Apparently, he declined. They offered Aaron Judge. They wanted to make a big splash. They got the big splash in Xander Bogaerts in order to get him because they really wanted him. How much does it cost to buy out the rest of his career? Because that's what he was looking for. Cost $280 million. Let's spread it over 11 years because of the fact we want to be a little bit cheaper per year in the AAV. That's literally what it is. But when you signed him at that point, okay, so that was, how old was he? So if it's 2026, 25, 24, 23, it was year 4. So he was, like 29 years old? When they signed that contract, they were committed to more than just 3.5 years before they had to pivot. They were committed to having that plan in place through at least, I would say, at the earliest 6 or 7 years. I think a lot of people agree with the fact that the Manny Machado extension was not necessarily the best ideas. I think they were caught in a bad situation of not wanting to let him go. I think you could have called his bluff. But the original contract for Manny Machado of 10 years, right, was the original contract of 10 years. You had to make it through, like 5 or 6 at least, that you're committed to. So the fact that you can't necessarily punt now, you have to stick with the plan. Same thing with Fernando when you sign him a 14-year deal. You had to get the extra years at the end, right, to balance out the money to make it make sense. And so you can't flip your plan now. This is what you committed to when you signed these deals. I don't know how many times we have to say that, Frank, but that's what you have to do. And in doing so, you are committed to trying to win with that core during these years. Otherwise, it makes the contracts even more of a foolish decision to sign any of these guys long term.
Yeah, it does. It makes the contracts more egregious. You don't want to put yourself in this position where you make something bad look even worse. And by buying out of these contracts now and eating this money or trading these guys away and still eating a vast majority of the contract makes it look even worse. And that's what I think Padre fans really have to realize is that you're in this now. You're in the jackpot now. You have to find a way to make this somewhat work. This year wasn't it. And these last couple of years, you've been trotting out the same team. 2025, you could say, okay, let's run it back. After what happened in 2024, you can say in 2025, we can run it back. Last year, you couldn't really say that, and you did it anyway. The only person that you didn't have on this team that was on the team last year was Luis Ariz. That's it. Otherwise, your lineup would have been exactly the same as last year. Next year, you really cannot run it back. You really do need to change, and you need to start the process for the offseason now, especially when you're going to have an abbreviated offseason the way we're all expecting to with the new CBA coming in.
I think they got to let this. The thing is you have to let this play out at least to the years that you were committed to. These are the prime years of these guys that we wanted to sign for.
100%.
And you have to try to make current decisions based on we're not trading these players instead of punt out of it. Because if that's the case, you're just going to keep getting yourself into a foolish cycle over and over and over again because you're not sticking to one plan. But since we're already into the offseason mode, it seems like, let's look at that. Frank talked about not running it back. Who should the Padres run it back with? What should they do? I mean, we could kind of quickly start looking at who's coming back and who's not, and what the consequences of maybe selling some other guys would be when we return.
1:40 on a Tuesday. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show. Setting his #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Fun, exciting show today.
Braden Superintendent Show.
It's okay. People like to talk smack all the time. They don't boo nobodies, Frank. They don't boo nobodies. That's why everybody boos Frank all the time. They don't boo nobodies. 833-288-973. 833-288-973.
We have to give those.
Oh, yeah. We got to give those tickets away. I totally forgot about that. We have tickets to give away to the track.
Track?
There, I was waiting for that.
Treat, no treat. Treat, no treat. Oh.
Your train is showing. Be the fifth caller to call in. You'll win a pair of tickets to the party at opening day at Del Mar on Friday, July 17. Tickets include opening day admission and exclusive access to the party, complete with world-class DJs, craft beers, and cocktail bars, photo booths, and private wagering. Tickets at dmtc.com. This event is 21 years or older. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Fifth caller, you will win a pair of tickets to July 17th, opening day at the track. Track?
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 Track? Track? Yes. Be the fifth caller. We'll see you at the track. Will we see you at the track? I don't know. I don't know if I'd see you at the track. You like the track?
I love the track.
You like the one where it's not involving motors?
Oh.
The all-natural track? Come on, Frank. They're making left turns.
Hey, they're
making left turns.
They do be making some left turns.
They be making left turns. All right, I'll let you do with that. I mean, since we're in like full off-season mode now because the season's over from a lot of people here, I'm not trying to sell sunshine and rainbows like this thing's going to magically turn around. I will look back at the Cleveland Guardians from last year because they were almost in the exact same spot that the Padres are in right now. They won their division. Padres are not going to win their division. I think that's pretty, not really going on a limb on that one. But if we start looking at next year, right? You start going through money that's coming off the books, what the team is going to look like, right? And you do have a decent amount of players that are not going to be here probably next year. I mean, you start going through it. Machado will be here, right? Theoretically. Probably. Xander Bogaerts will be here. He's under contract. Michael King's interesting to me whether or not he's going to opt into his deal. I mean, he does. You could probably get something for him at the trade deadline. I mean, with the amount of teams that need starting pitching, they would definitely take Michael King. Maybe you trade him to the Yankees and get some of these top prospects back that everybody clamors about with the Yankees. Get Michael King over to New York and see if he can get Kyle Carr back or some young pitching back, if you will.
Congratulations to James and San Marcos, by the way.
Congratulations to James and San Marcos. Winning the tickets. So if you decide to trade King or he doesn't opt into his contract, which is a major X factor, let's just pretend he's probably not on the team. Tatis will be here. Yay. Musgrove is on the list. He's under contract for one more year. Merrill will be here. Nick Pivetta probably will not be here, would be my guess. Cronenworth will be here. Laureano is not going to be on the team next year. He's a free agent. Yuki Matsui's got 1 year and a player option left. Wandy Peralta's got 1 year left. I think the Padres could probably trade away Wandy Peralta. Strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah, that might not be a bad one to get rid of either. That's one that'll definitely have more value. Like I told you during the break, I think Jake Cronenworth could be potentially a contract you can move, but that's an off-season move. That's not a trade deadline move. Wandy Peralta, I feel the exact opposite about it. I think if you're going to move him, that's going to be a trade deadline move. That's not going to be an off-season move.
If Nick Pivetta is on the injured list past August 21st, that becomes a club option for 2027. And I don't think the Padres are taking the club option at that point. I really don't. Not for somebody that, and this is why that clause was in there, because they had concerns about his arm. So I don't envision Pivetta being part of the rotation next year, Frank. Do you?
No.
So as of right now,
I don't envision him being a part of it the rest of this year, honestly, if I'm honest.
Until we see signs that he might come back and they keep like dangling the carrot, it's hard to say. But as of right now, as I go on the Fangraphs roster research payroll and fill in, you have 6 position players and 1 starting pitcher right now. Matsui's going to be back. I think you could trade Wandy Peralta, but he's in the bullpen. Miguel Andujar, mutual option. He will not be here. Sungmoon Song will be here. He's under contract for the next couple of years and then has a player option in 2029. Giolito won't be here. Canning won't be here. Armand Marquez won't be here. Walker Buehler won't be here. Ty France won't be here. Kyle Hart has a $2.5 million club option. He might.
I think that depends on desperation level as far as the pitcher market's concerned and what they do in free agency.
I'm just going through.
He's been in the minor leagues most of this year.
I'm just going through the roster right now. You literally have 1 starting pitcher and 2 bullpen arms, not including Kyle Hart. Maybe they do pick that up.
Well, there's your full rebuild right there.
Let's put Hart in the bullpen.
Those of you want a full rebuild, there it is.
Adam won't be here. I don't think Morejon will be here. They're both free agents. Morejon's going to cost a lot. Then you have Sheets, Campusano, Miller, Sears, Fermin. I'm seeing a lot of the same names on this team, Frank.
Yep.
Seeing a lot.
That I is.
Notable players not yet are eligible for arbitration. Estrada will be eligible for arbitration next year. He's coming back. Brian Hoeing. What's his injury? Like, is he missed all of this year, right? Is he coming back next year?
We have not seen Brian Hoeing at all this year, no.
He's technically going to be on the roster. Vasquez. You also have Samad Taylor under control. Bradley Rodriguez under control. And that's it. Now, what are you going to do with Yu Darvish? I don't know. He's not going to be on the restricted list for the next 2 years, but he's technically under contract until 2029. He has 2 more years left on that thing.
I wouldn't expect Hoeing back this year. He's a torn right elbow flexor tendon.
Yeah, right. I know he got like a nasty surgery. I couldn't remember off the top of the head.
Yeah, that he got transferred from the 15-day to the 60-day back on April 22nd.
So right now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 position players coming back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bullpen arms coming back, and 4 starters. And your starters are Musgrove, Sears, Vasquez, Darvish.
I don't think Laureano's coming back either.
I took him off. He wasn't part of the deal. No, he's not coming. I don't think he's coming back.
I don't think he's out of control. He's out of control, and he's also
he's missing like 4 to 5 months or something. Yeah, he's not
a free agent.
So you have Machado, Bogaerts, Tatis, Merrill, Cronenworth, Song, Sheets, Campusano, Fermin, Taylor, Matsui, Peralta, Hart, Miller, Estrada, Hoeing, Rodriguez. Theoretically,
he's out of team control. Go Aztecs.
Musgrove, Sears, Vasquez, Darvish. I'm telling you, this is why I said if you trade Miller, you want to talk about like rebuild. I mean, this is not like a quick rebuild if you decide to do that. This is why you got to like try to make trades for like current players or like major leaguers. I'm curious to see, payroll wise. Here's the other thing too. So like Michael King, if you don't trade him and he doesn't opt into his deal next year, he costs you $5 million minimum on a buyout. Miguel Andujar is going to cost you $2.5 million on a buyout. Griffin Canning costs you $1.5 million on a buyout. Giolito $1.5 million, or Ron Marquez $750,000, Kyle Hart $200,000 if he doesn't come back on a buyout. That's a decent amount of money right there on the buyouts. That would be the other payments on there. Some of other payments. I mean, that's a interesting group there. But as of right now on the books, now some of those are including some of these players that I think are not going to be on the team next year. $196 million for the team for next year. I honestly think this leans more towards not trading Mason Miller.
Yeah.
They're not going to have anybody left on this team. I get he might be a luxury you can't afford in terms of like closer, but he's getting paid. Like he's arbitration eligible for the next 3 years. We'll see what the labor negotiations bring up, but this is why I think honestly you have a relatively clean slate for some of these positions. I mean, you're not going to get in the starting rotation. The bullpen can be some ads. I mean, the position players we'll see, but you give a blank canvas. It's not really blank because you have to pay money, but this is what I mean. Like you stand pat for the offseason, you might be able to see what the new owners can do. I will say this, like with Morejon not coming back and Michael King potentially having opt-out, I think those are the two that you trade at the deadline to try to get some AAA guys ready to go for the young talent.
Yeah.
It's going to free up some of the money, not really. I mean, already you're going to have 3.9 coming off with Morejon, 6.6 coming off for Adam. A lot of little payments that are coming off from some of these players you've signed. Laureano comes off at 6.5. Michael King, not having to pay him is like $25 million off the AAV if you decided to trade him. It leads to opening up some money for a new ownership group that's willing to spend money. And I think you address that at the offseason instead of panic selling at the deadline and see what you got. See how far out you are at that point.
I think that's also something that we're kind of just glossing over is that and another reason why I think you should just more stand put and get an off-season plan ready. This is not going to be a normal off-season.
No.
With the CBA and everything's going around, I think that's still kind of getting missed as we're so used to having a normal off-season, normal procedure, normal way to handle everything. This is going to be, or at least what it's expected to be, is one of the more unique off-seasons that we've had in quite some time. And you don't know how much time you're going to have to be able to get all of this stuff planned out. So staying put now and focusing on 2027 early, I think is going to be the best way to go, not just for this team, but also because of the fact that we are going to have a very unique offseason coming up this year if everything goes the way it's expected to go.
You're going to see, like, just based on our time during these labor negotiations, you're going to see like a massive flow of deals at the end of October into November, because December 1st is the thing. You're just going to see guys sign real fast.
It'll be before the winter meetings.
Maybe they can go pick up some starting pitching, if you will. That's it for us today. Gwynn and Chris will be on next. Hopefully the Padres bounce back after an 8-0 loss last night. Braden Surprenant Show. Standing Summer Sports Station, 97 through the Fan.